Attention. Attention.
The live broadcast you have tuned into is a pre-recorded episode of the Dudes and Beer podcast. Dudes and Beer is presently traveling the vast void of time and space in an effort to find you more of the best content in the known universe. Enjoy the following transmission, and remember, if you can't be good at it. Grab your beverages and turn up your interweb. Solving the world's problems 12 ounces at a time. It's Dudes and Beer.
And how do you feel about it?
I love it. I love it so much that I'm going to throw into it right now. Hey, everybody, how you doing? Welcome to Dudes and Beer, episode whatever the fuck this is. I have no idea right now. This is a totally unscheduled episode. Yeah. The universe aligned, and I was with two very, very good friends at work, and it was one of those like, you know what, guys? You got to come over to the studio, have a couple drinks. Let's just hang out. And before we knew it, we were into crazy deep conversation. And this officially starts, number one, two things that were inspired by my good friend Stone Winchester. The Beavis and Butt-Headless intro. Not only that, that's the first time he's heard that live in the studio. And he was like, oh, nice. That's great. Yeah. And not only that, but this new concept of the lighter side with Dudes and Beer. Where we just sit back and talk about crazy stuff, you know, wherever it takes us. It's not a focused episode. It's not anything like that. It'll just be crazy fun. And, you know, we were sitting back and just talking before the episode started, and it was like, I really, really can't wait to do this. So whenever we get back from this message from our sponsor, we will have the first episode of The Lighter Side with Dudes and Beer.
Have you ever thought about brewing your own beer? Is the urge to brew there, but you just don't know how to get started? Well, Dudes and Beer is here to help. Stop on by the new Dudes and Beer Amazon store and check out all the great brewing supplies and gear today. We have it all, from instructional books and do-it-yourself kits for beginners to 16-gallon cooking vessels, carboys, bottling supplies, and cleaners for all you homebrew pros out there. Everything you need to brew your favorite beverages, even distilling equipment. So stop on by the official Dudes and Beer store today and get your hand on the greatest new brewing essentials. Simply visit dudesandbeer.com and click the Dudes and Beer store tab. Once again, that website is dudesandbeer.com and click the Dudes and Beer store tab today. Happy brewing, everybody. And until next time, drink responsibly.
And we are back. Coda's got to stand up for a second. He just sprained his groin sitting down. He apparently worked way too hard riding around in an electric lift today. That was way too much work standing up. So his body is rejecting his movements. Yes. So he's going to stand up for a minute and kind of relax his really groin, because you never know when you may have to have a baby like me. And you know, and he's a strapping baby Huey. Is what he is.
I'm getting some facial hair. Right?
It's coming in. It's coming in all right. It's coming in. Yeah. So, guys, we've just been sitting back and talking about crazy stuff. I mean, you know, we were talking about a little bit of philosophy, a little bit of politics, a little bit of Russia. So I actually saw the funniest bumper sticker in the world the other day, and I have to get it. It was actually Trump Putin 2020, but it was written in Cyrillic. Oh, it was like, okay, that's pretty dope.
So you read Cyrillic? That's pretty.
I had the dude who purchased the bumper sticker come out of Home Depot right as I came out, and it was like, I love your bumper sticker. What's it about? He's like, oh, it's a Trump Putin sticker. I was like, oh, okay, that's hilarious. That's classy. You know, I don't care who you are. That shit's funny. Yeah. And I appreciate stuff like that. And that's a lot of what the show is about. And that's why I love hanging out. Our guests today, everybody, are of course Stone Winchester. He's been on a couple times before. Welcome back, my friend. And for the first time on Dudes and Beer, but not the first time in the studio, is Joshua Cota Brown.
Yeah, Cota.
Joshua Cota. Also known as Cota.
OG.
And talk about OG. He was actually originally part of the Talking Sound podcast crew. and he helped me set up this studio. He was here before that window was plugged in, and this place had a huge ass snail fan up in the corner with the door open.
He talked about it when we came
to be
in.
able to actually
You
make
should
it
have
a
been here when it
habitable
first started.
environment.
It was so hot.
Oh, you remember when I made the vape bucket?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man, I made a bucket with like holes in it where I could like put a fan on top and just fill it with a freaking bag of ice, and that was my ghetto air conditioner.
Dude, it used to be hot as shit.
They now sell them they now sell bucket fans.
No, I know.
Home
I
Depot.
know.
When I opened the
It's
door,
like,
and he was down the hall on your piano, on the piano.
On the piano out there.
Dude, this
Wait,
man
I
on
know
a
he can play.
piano
I
is a
know.
madman.
It surprised me.
No.
So I opened the door and it was ice cold in here, and I
Yeah.
said to him, like, Jesus Christ, this boy keeps it cold all the time. You should have been here back in the day.
That's because back in the day it was like 1:10 when you came in at like 8 p.m.
No,
it was like, oh my god.
hot. It
You
was
remember
hot.
the wasps that were in the window?
Yeah.
You did shows with the door open just to
And
get
that
was-
air in here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
like
the thing.
literally, I would have to air it out for like an hour and a half
Yeah.
before I could close the
Before
door
we
and do an
even, like-
episode, and it better be 20 minutes because after that it was like
Now it's
buckets of
Honestly,
buckets of sweat
We used to walk out to go outside
to cool off.
to cool off, and it was summertime.
Yeah.
Well, I like this much better.
Yeah, I do too.
Oh
This
yeah,
is
yeah. It
super
took some
fantastic.
work, you know. I plugged in the window and back behind that half-inch plywood with the
And of course it's
I'm betting
padding
you
on
had
top.
No.
I'm betting you had the college fridge though.
I
You could
didn't.
have cold beers.
I didn't at
No?
that point.
No.
Not
Warm
yet.
beers.
Not yet. I found that sitting on the curb outside by my apartment, and I was like, you know, maybe somebody's moving in.
So
So I let it sit there for 8 hours, and nobody ever come and picked it up.
A
And
curb, curb find was
yeah.
probably what started Dudes and Beers.
It was
Oh,
it was literally like I opened my back door and put it in.
Well, me
That's
and-
where it was.
You know, I was in college.
It was
I did
literally
that a few times myself.
it was literally
Like
loaded
me-
right next. It was sitting right next to my back door for like 8
Nobody
hours.
caught that reference.
So yeah.
Me and Chris.
Were you
and
involved
Ryan.
in that, Chris?
What's that?
I mean, Cota?
What?
Him opening his back door and putting it in?
No. All right now. All right now.
He's
Oh.
FCC.
Oh no, they have no control over me
No,
yet.
not over this. But no, we used to have to drink our
It's
beer
marked
before it got
explicit
warm,
content.
and
We're good.
Okay, right on.
That's what we used to do: is drink our beer before
Yeah.
it got warm.
Well, yeah. No, we literally brought our
No
beer in and
40s.
kept it cool in a bucket. Like,
we used to drink
40s get warm.
pretty hefty
Like,
then.
Yeah,
so-
no.
What I'm saying,
Well,
the 40 gets... That's why we used to like nips, because, you know,
Yeah.
they don't get fucking
Me and Hansel,
warm.
we used to get like
well, that's just
literally-
it. Like between me, you, and him, if we got a 12-pack across the street, it was gone in an hour, hour and a half anyway.
So what's up with that fucking store? I didn't really notice it before we
The
got
hula
there.
hoop.
We got
The hula hoop.
we got there today.
They have
We got
one of
here
the
today.
best
We pulled up and I was
fucking
like,
beer selections in
well,
South Austin.
No,
bro.
that's what I was about to say. We
Yeah,
pulled
number
up and I was
two,
like,
definitely.
oh shit, forgot to get beer. Let's go across the street. I figured they had Lone Star and PBR.
Nah.
And I
No,
walked in, I
it's
was
like-
like, there's nothing I would drink.
Well,
Where's
that's the whole-
fucking cheap
that's
fucking
the whole-
redneck beer? Like, oh,
It's
it's over there.
it's over there
It's
next
in
to
the little
sodas.
corner.
It's next to
But,
the
yeah,
Gatorade.
big
next
red
to
in the
soda,
Gatorade.
yeah.
exactly, exactly.
But no, it's
Over
the
there
whole,
with the
like,
refreshments.
Austin, like
No, I
cheap
get it.
Austin hippie.
South
fucking-
side.
Well, no, I'll tell you this right now
That's
because
true
it
shit.
did. It was not that way. And you remember the hula
Yeah,
hoop
no,
before
I
they
know.
remodeled it, before they got the fancy new sign. But it's 180 degrees better. They have a way better variety of corner store material like
If
food,
you're into that
snacks,
kind of thing, yeah.
food and snacks. Well,
Well,
hey, you know,
before it
whatever.
was just people here
granola
just-
and fancy beers.
Before is just people here.
I
just
do
wanting
like
to
some
drink.
fancy
I do
beer.
like
I'm
my
enjoying the
PBR
mosaic.
And this Texas PBR, we call it Lone Star.
Lone
Yeah.
Star, the national beer of Texas.
The national.
It
beer
has
of
not,
Texas.
unlike, hold on.
What is that?
It does, and that's
hold
what
on,
makes
though.
me laugh.
On the can it says brewed in Texas since 1884, but I don't see anything on there like PBR, you know,
Yeah.
that
Blue Ribbon in
Best-
1876.
best beer, best American lager in.
Yeah.
because it's
Something
not.
like 18.
It's not.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like 1876 or something like that.
But
Well,
I tell you, in 2004,
Now,
they won again. They
Yeah.
won America's Best Lager.
Peter
And this is what
is a
I've been
good
trying
beer.
to tell people forever.
I like
Is
the
like
Yingling,
it's
man.
a premium beer, but that what PBR doesn't do is they will not advertise.
mhm.
They don't spend any money on advertising. They keep their
They were
costs
like
low.
Pearl. They were
and
like
they
Pearl.
just because
Pearl.
they don't put commercials all over the television. It's not.
No, they just stay true to
but
brand.
I'll tell you what, if you go somewhere that doesn't serve PBR, it's not a popular item. It's $5 a fucking can at the fucking bar.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
But in Lawrence, Kansas, I'm from Lawrence, Kansas, and we all hello to
We're
all
sorry.
the replay lounge people in Lawrence, Kansas.
Wreck it.
Number one replay lounge in Lawrence, Kansas is the number one. There's more PBR sold at the replay lounge than any other place on the planet.
I lived in Maine.
Kansas is not from Kansas. It's from Milwaukee.
I lived in Maine for 5 years, and buddy, it's like water. I mean, it was guaranteed. And whenever I booked,
beers.
whenever I worked, whenever I like booked bands, I would tell them like, "Here's the thing: the bands I'm bringing in tonight. If you have this on special, you will sell out."
Yeah.
And at Peeber, it comes in the pounder. You know, it comes in a 16, and typically, they were like $2.50, something like that, $3. It's like, hey, that's costing you 50 cents each. If you sell those for $1.50, and you put fucking Jim Beam on special, you will sell out of both of those all fucking night.
That was my main point.
All fucking
in
night.
Lawrence, Kansas, at the replay and everywhere else, it's $1.50 a can for it's $2 for the pounder.
Yeah.
And they sell more goddamn PBR.
Yeah.
Isn't
than
it
anywhere
dubbed
else
down
in the
in
country.
Kansas?
It was-
too?
Isn't it what?
Isn't it dubbed down in Kansas like Oklahoma?
No. What you have in Kansas is in the convenience store. It's 3.5.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So at gas stations, everywhere else is 3.5. You go to liquor store, grocery store, anywhere, it's the 5.0.
Yeah.
I got a buddy who, what he'll do is like he had his brother lived in Cleveland, and he'd go up to Cleveland probably to go visit, and he just went up there to help him move back down here to Texas. But he'd bring a 12-pack of Lone Star, and he'd go up there and he'd trade them a 12-pack of Lone Star for a 12-pack of Yingling.
Hell yeah, all day long, dude.
Like, because...
Dude, Yingling is hands down, one of my favorite beers in the world. It is the nation's oldest brewery.
Yes,
and
sir.
it is so good.
Talking oldest,
so good.
And I think a Yingling is
it's
a
like the
Lone Star.
original
I think
Shiner
it's a
Bock.
PBR. I think it's fucking. It's everybody.
It's like
each state
gold.
has their fucking beer, and I think Yingling is Pennsylvania's fucking beer.
Oh, it is.
You know, that's
most
it.
definitely. Most definitely.
So, talking oldest, since we got people in the business here, I have a trivia question.
What's that?
What is America's oldest company?
America's oldest
that's easy.
company?
It's out of Texas. It's a sugar company. It's fucking.
It wouldn't
It is
be
not
Imperial Sugar.
Imperial Sugar.
By far, not the oldest company.
Well, they've been in Texas
By
since before
far,
we
bro.
were.
I'm talking about
America's
before
oldest
America.
company.
I'm saying it's a company in America.
Okay.
Wasn't started in America. It's the oldest company in America. So it's the oldest company. It could have started elsewhere.
Yeah.
Sure.
But it's the oldest company in America, and you'll probably be surprised. Maybe.
Let's hear it.
Zildjian.
Okay. Yeah.
Turkish
Yep.
cymbal company.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oldest company in America, like 1600s.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
The oldest.
Okay.
And they are in America now.
Yes, they are.
Well,
That's what throws people off because they think Coca-Cola and they think Sears and
Well, I was
Roebuck.
honestly going to
People
go
think-
something more along the lines of like,
Imperial Sugar is an American.
Been around a long
company, and
time,
it's
but
been-
Texas
it's
has not been Texas as long as Zildjian has been.
Well, yeah.
or as long as America's been America.
Okay, so I'm from. I'm not from Kansas. Like I went to high school in Sugarland.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So,
Imperial Sugar.
Sugarland, yeah.
Like that's
what
the
it is,
Weath
Sugarland.
family. I
The
know
home
the
of
whole
the
story.
Skeeters.
So the guy, Mr.
Been around
Weath,
since, like,
Mr. Weath, who started Imperial Sugar,
Yeah.
slaughtered his family.
And
the
now,
whole thing. Like, that's part
if
of
you go
lore
around
for my
Sugarland, it's badass. You know, like how if you go past overpasses everywhere else in Texas, there's like the big Texas Star.
Yeah.
In Sugarland, there's the Imperial Sugar Crown.
Let me tell you,
it's dope
it
as
is
hell.
not what it was.
No,
when
it
I was
is
in
not.
High school.
Nope.
I went back
Because you're only
I went
about
back, I
5
could
years
not
older than
find-
me.
I
Like
could
you're,
not find
you're
my
like my
house.
brother's age. Yeah.
I had no idea how to find my neighborhood.
It is a total. That place has come up like crazy. Dude.
Well, for like 10 years, it was the fastest growing community in the United States.
Yep.
Like by far. When my dad moved in, he was the first house built in the neighborhood. We used to ride our bikes from his house straight across the fields to get to the neighborhood pool.
Now,
there used to be nothing.
You could literally.
There used to be nothing.
We used to ride our motorcycles. Everywhere.
One of the few cities
through the
in this state that I've never been to.
Yeah.
That's one of the
It's
very
really
few.
not that.
Well, no. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Like, I've been.
It's a
just
pass
place
through.
with
I've been.
neighborhoods.
That's why I always say, like, I've been
The
almost.
Skeeter Stadium is pretty cool.
I tell you what,
The Skeeter Stadium is pretty nice.
I tell you what, though. Like, very affluent area.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, always has been.
Yeah.
Always has been.
Well, yeah,
You know,
makes
we were
sense.
part of the country club, everything else. That's how I grew up, you know.
Yeah, well, sugar
on the golf
was the money
course, all
was
that.
back in the day.
But I took my wife, who's an Austinite, Austonian, whatever the fuck you call people from Austin. Austinite, I think, yeah. But and she grew up, you know, in the hood.
Well,
Like
okay.
lower income, very lower income, you know, like just
Southeast
family struggling,
Austin.
mom with 5 kids, that kind of deal.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
And I took, when we were in Houston visiting my family, I took her, I'm like, I want to show her where I grew up. Okay, so I took her off to the country club where, you know, I grew up playing golf and everything. And I was blown away. Needless to say how she felt.
No, it's nothing but $1 million homes now.
No, this is not even $1 million homes. You know what I mean? Like, my neighborhood was $1 million homes. This is like, there's a helicopter pad on the roof of every house. And, you know, I mean, there's like elevators and everything.
Yeah, it's
you know, the
friggin'
kids I
crazy.
went to high school with had elevators in their houses and servants in the house in the back. And
I remember my buddy in high school had an elevator in his house.
And
it's sugar.
It's all that sugar money.
well, that's a lot of oil money and shit out there.
Yeah.
You know, like at least 12 people in my neighborhood.
Well,
were on the
well,
Houston Oilers,
and the
or
thing is, a lot of the people that originated back in the late 70s, early 80s, like you're talking about, that went to Sugarland were high-end execs, stuff like that, because of the Sugarland Airport, because of that tiny little airstrip out there for all the private planes and everything else.
You know, I lived in Stafford, which is on the edge of Sugarland.
Yeah.
Because Sugarland was kind of ghetto. There wasn't jack shit. The only
Yeah.
people in Sugarland that had money were the family that owned the sugar plant. That's it. I mean, there wasn't like, oh, these people have sugar plant. The surrounding area, Stafford and all that, like literally, like our neighborhood butted up against. You know, I walked or rode my bike over to Sugarland. To where we just said Sugarland.
Used to be a good magic
people didn't
shop
know where
in
the fuck
Sugarland.
Stafford was. You know. But
I hear you.
yeah. So like taking her through there, like she was just this is like an episode of Cribs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is like a movie. She's like, people don't really, I didn't think people really had places like this.
Don't bring her around.
But the thing is, like, myself, I grew up there and on the racquetball courts and everything else and on the golf course. And I was blown away going back. Like, fuck, I grew up around these douchebags.
Yeah.
And then I started remembering, I grew up around douchebags. Everybody I fucking knew was a fucking douchebag.
Tool. All of my friends were tools.
And I remember thinking, holy shit, everybody out here's a douchebag. Like, I fucking hate all these people I fucking go to school with, all these people at the country club who I'm on the fucking racquetball fucking tournaments with and everything. They're all fucking everything. If you didn't have the nicest fucking racket or the nicest fucking...
I went to Stratford over on the west side of town. And, you know, I gave up on my class. Number one, at my 5-year reunion when there were people like... I had like left the seminary at that point and I was assistant youth minister and stuff. And I literally had friends that had become like traders and stuff like that. Not like with a T, but with a D. You know, like they were monetary traders, stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And they didn't understand why I would take a job as an assistant youth minister that paid like absolutely nothing. And I'm like, I don't know, because there's more to my life than fucking money.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe I want to actually make some impact in the world and change some shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? You know, and at that point, I had kind of given up. Since then, I think I've gotten, I didn't even get invited to my 20-year reunion. Like, I didn't even get an invite in the mail.
Oh, wow.
Like, that shit didn't even exist. So now it's like, I got like 3 friends from high school that I talk to. One of them, Danny Franz, I love you. He listens to the show. He's literally my friend since kindergarten.
Oh, wow.
Literally my oldest friend in the world.
Yeah.
And it's one of those, like, I've always just had a very exclusive ring of friends. Like, my best friend from high school, Billy, from ScaryDad.com. I fucking hang out with him constantly.
He just does
like
this
he just
shit.
plugged that.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
yeah,
does
no,
this
I
shit
just drop
naturally.
plugs all the time. But quite
Naturally.
honestly, like, I had him build the crib that I posted on Facebook. Like,
Yeah.
he's the one that built
He's
it.
the one who built it.
Like,
Well,
he's my
good
best
on
friend
him.
I
from
thought
high
that
school.
was
Good
like,
on you,
I mean,
man.
I just
Good on you.
glanced, but I thought you like literally went and bought an antique.
No,
Like,
no, I had.
Was there like a bassinet or a rocker? or
Yeah, it was
something?
a basset. Well, the antique rocker was my great grandmother's.
Okay.
And that literally like rocked Dalbus, like my grandfather. Like he was rocked in that chair.
Oh.
And now it's gonna rock Dalbus again.
Yeah.
You know, and like
There you
the
go.
tiny little rocker that I have in my house, my grandfather made for my mom. So like every
Was your
one
mom
of us.
tiny?
Well, no, I mean at one point she was a little kid.
Oh,
So
okay,
yeah,
I got you.
It's literally like a little kid's rocker.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
jackass.
I'm a few beers in. I
got lost for a quick second.
Wait, I pictured your mom really small.
But what's badass is that my mom, both of my aunts, my cousin, my brother, me, we all had that rocker.
We had a
like
Toyota
every
like
one of
that.
us.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like the fact that I get to share that, and now my buddy, like I was literally at a gig, and you know how it is, like you've got your computer, stuff like that. Got plenty of time while dude's presenting for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I literally opened up Photoshop and sat there and like drew out plans for a rocking bassinet. I was like, yo, man, rock something out for me, 3/4 ply, you know, make it decent, paint it up cool, you know, Spider-Man colors, whatever.
Yeah.
He was the one that was like, fuck that noise.
Yeah. No,
Fuck that
it's
noise.
gotta
Like
be
I remember
badass.
jamming with Chris and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like I'm gonna make
You're not
this.
a Spider-Man
I'm
guy?
gonna make this thing like the best fucking guitar that there is. So
Because
he was the one that got the quilted maple and fucking flamed it out and
Yeah.
put like the mahogany inlay cross and shit like that. Like he came up with that design.
Nice.
Dope.
When I saw it, it was all I could do not to just start weeping. It was number one as someone who was in shop class with him
Yeah.
in high school,
And now
like
just,
making
yeah.
boxes and yo-yos,
Yeah.
you know, stuff like that, and like turkey napkin holders and shit,
Yeah.
which is still in my house, Billy. Turkey. You know, to see that kind of craftsmanship, that kind of thoughtfulness come into a project. Like he built the Dudes and Beer podcast table, like what we use live. Like he built that. You know, like I commissioned him to build that. And, you know, when it was just so moving to me. And now to see my child, like that was the first place where when I put him in it,
Do you like your kid?
he went to sleep. I love the fuck out of my kid.
I didn't
dude.
ask you that.
Like he is, yes, no,
There's
I
a
like
difference.
my kid.
Okay, here.
I like my kid.
Okay, here's
He is a
what-
cool
okay.
kid, man. Like straight
And
up.
I know this is your first.
He like I'll literally hold. I just got a little
And they're
free
easy to
Hammond
like when
organ
they're
off
little.
Craigslist. But they're hard to like when they're like a week and a half old.
Here's what you're gonna.
They're easy to love, but they're hard to like.
Here's some fatherly thing.
Okay,
to
yeah.
hand you.
No, because I can't
So
wait
you're
till
gonna-
you're on Dads and Beer with me.
Because you're gonna
Dads
learn.
and beer, yeah.
You're gonna learn
I won't
It's
know
coming.
about that
time.
show.
difference between. Because people are like, "Do you like your kid?" Oh, I love my kid. That's not what I
That's
asked.
not what I asked you. That's not what I asked
Because
you.
there will be a lot of times throughout his life
Love and like ain't
that
the
you will
same
not
thing.
like him at all.
Sometimes I don't like my wife. Sometimes she
But you
really
still
don't
love
like
her.
me. I love her beyond belief.
Right.
I ask her all that. Please ask me to kill for you.
Right.
Yeah.
I will kill for you.
Just don't
Please
ask me to kill
for
you
you.
because there's
yeah, I'm
times
not
when
going to
I
do
want
that.
to.
That's 2 steps too far.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you
Only
ask
because
me to kill
prison's
for you,
involved.
like you just tell me where you need the body, baby.
I love you, Amy.
Yeah. And you know, it's funny because so many people meet my wife, even like Confucius Jones from
I
like
haven't, but
you know,
Confucius Jones has.
you know. Well, I mean, you've been to you met my wife, didn't
I
you?
haven't.
No, I guess you didn't. Whenever you came over to the house, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm intending
It's
on
okay,
having a
it's
little.
okay.
It'll happen soon.
It'll
It'll happen soon. But yeah, like he's like, dude, your wife is like the coolest fucking person in the world. It's like, yeah, I waited.
That doesn't make it any easier.
I was.
Coolest fucking person in the world. I
And he
don't want
keeps
you to
him-
meet her.
Sorry.
I understand who I am. Okay, I embrace. I know what I'm like. Okay?
And I love every ounce of what you are. And it's interesting because a lot of people find you very abrasive, and I don't.
No, I do.
Oh,
because
no, Stone's abrasive as fuck.
But yeah,
here's the thing: is
he's bristly. He's bristly.
I know
but he's
how
not
abrasive I am, and
Sometimes
but the thing is, the difference between me and everybody else is I know why I'm doing it.
Well,
yeah,
and intention and perception. I try and preach this all the time to people. It's one thing that'll make your life easier, make your dealings. Okay, so obviously, being an abrasive person, I have a lot of issues with a lot of people.
Sure,
not by my necessarily, not my intent.
Yeah.
It's their perception.
Yes.
Because your perception of what I'm trying to say is not my fault.
Yeah.
I put a lot of study into this throughout my life, okay? Because I've always been that person.
Yeah.
Always, since I was a child. My mother gave me the boot at 14 to go live with my dad because of who I am. She said she knew I wasn't going to be a part of their religion by the time I was 5 because of my personality.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to question what the fuck you're saying.
Yeah,
I'm not going to sit there and be a blind fucking sheep. I'm not going to fucking... You better fucking... You know what?
Not gonna just follow.
Here's one thing you'll find out about me. And I think Chris gets it more than anybody.
Oh, thank you.
But were we just talking about this today?
Yeah.
How me and Chris are with each other, and the fact that we have conversations and it's never an argument.
Handies.
Yeah,
Over
okay.
the pants handies.
Totally. But I'd hit it. But
I'm a damn good-looking man.
I had to put a lot of thought and study into myself, and I mean, from standing in the mirror, looking at my own mannerisms.
Yeah.
How are people taking me wrong, and having to try and adjust it so that people wouldn't take me a certain way.
Yeah.
And
so that you actively change the perception.
But I got to a point where I'm like, you know what? That's unfair to me.
It is.
Because
it's not being
I get it. I have mannerisms that I got from my mother will say it. Like, that look you have when you do that smile out of the corner of your mouth where you look like you're being a smart ass, that was your grandmother. She had those same exact mannerisms.
No.
It's not my fault. It's just mannerisms that people read wrong. So, therefore, it's on them for making snap judgments.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
or
no.
like...
That's one of those... I'm sorry if that's your hang-up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if that's your hang-up.
But it's something I have to deal with if I want to work.
Yeah.
If I want to have...
Especially in the industry that we work in.
Right. Around a bunch of sensitive people.
Because we're in a high-end
Artists,
industry. We're in a high-end industry.
So, but like you've said many times since I met you, like, I may be to the point where I'm starting to get when you're joking and when you're not, but I still to this day don't know when you're kidding or when you're fucking with me or when you're being serious. Yeah. I always tell people, I say, you know what, the safe bet with Stone Winchester, assume I'm fucking with you.
Yeah, exactly.
And if I'm not, I'll let you know real quick I'm fucking not if you treat it like I am.
Yeah.
But that's on me then. To let you know I'm not fucking with you.
Man.
Well, it's like I was telling Ryan.
Assume I am because
Ansel,
I'm fucking a joking, fun fucking person.
Yeah.
I really am.
No, you are one of the most light-hearted...
motherfucker, I just want to fucking joke around and have a good time.
Listen, I tell about Stone. This is what Stone does.
Bro, I'm Bart Simpson. I'm not going to fucking lie.
Yeah.
Quit it.
Oh, no, he's a bear poker.
But you know what?
Poker.
Like, when I have the most fun, when I really enjoy life the most, is when you fuck with me back. I want you to fuck with me harder than I fuck with you. For one, because you're going to give me material to use next time with somebody else. You know?
Yep.
But mainly because you
Let's
get
see
it.
how weak
you get
you
it.
are. I want to see how weak
you get it. Like, give me shit.
Well, and
I'll give you shit back because I grew up old school where guys on the fucking job site gave each other shit.
That's what
and they fucking ragged it. Okay, there, Tina. Oh, hey, you got that? You got some tampons in your purse because you want it. Like that's how I grew up. With those guys
I made a Raz the first time that I came to my studio, and my wife had started the Yes But Why podcast, and been my studio for a little while. You know, she had just gotten comfy with it. She had just gotten to the point where, quite honestly, when we moved into our house, and it was like, no, it was literally like, you know, baby, we may have to sacrifice the studio in order to get into a rent house instead of an apartment. Are you okay with that? She was the one that fought to keep this space. It was like, I will find somewhere that allows us to keep that, because she found it a sanctuary for her show. But the first time I came in and opened up my tech drawer behind you and saw 2 tampons in it, I had to take a picture and be like, I never, ever, ever thought that I would see the day that in my drawer of tools and everything else, I would find a couple tampons. I guess if I happen to take a round to the shoulder, I have a way to pad it.
That's right.
And I have a sterile way to plug the wound. You know, like I have to find some macho way to, like, you know, like, I just found 2 tampons in my studio. No. I don't even know how to deal with that. Like, that was something that, you know, having a studio at home, even.
Even then, like,
man cave is no longer a man
so,
cave.
That's what I was saying. Is like you live.
It wasn't a violation, but it was one of those like,
no.
Oh wow,
No. It kind of. And I feel like she did it on purpose.
No,
No, come on.
She's just being prepared for any situation.
Well,
in the tool drawer.
Well, I mean,
it is a useful tool. Like I said, I can pack a wound if I needed to.
It's definitely a necessary.
Nobody gets the willies.
It's definitely
a screwdriver.
It's definitely
Nobody's like,
nobody gets the willies going to the hardware store, like going down aisle 2.
You open it. Girls.
Like
girls
the whole King of the Hill episode where he has to go down aisle 2 at the grocery store so he can get the fucking tampon.
Everybody's dealt with the whole, like, the bitching about you leaving the toilet seat up, you know.
You know what mine is?
But hold on, every man has also walked in and opened the seat. Okay, the lid's down, but you open it up, and there's a bloody piece of cotton in the. Everybody's run into it.
I've never had that.
Are you kidding?
Never had that.
Not even glad you haven't.
Not even joking.
I have. The
and
thing is,
I'm sorry. I'd rather see a turd, and I'm fucking.
Now, you know what?
100%
I'm lying. I have seen that because I've been a janitor and I've cleaned women's bathrooms.
So
and I'm here to tell you, their facilities are twice as nice and twice as fucking filthy.
Well,
of course.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll tell you the thing about that whole seat thing that just drives me fucking crazy is put the toilet seat down. Now, also, I don't care if you close the lid, but just make sure that it's down, right? So I can't leave it up because you don't want to put it down, but you're willing to lift.
Okay,
the
this
lid.
is a conversation I've had too.
Okay, yeah.
And I did two things on that. For one, yes, why are you too lazy to fucking pull the fucking
the biggest
why do you just sit down without checking?
The biggest answer,
middle of the night.
That's the thing is
why don't you sit down? Too lazy to fucking check.
But no. The biggest.
Are you too lazy to check for Saran wrap? Because what if I really tried to fuck you?
Okay,
that's the biggest answer I've seen is the biggest answer that I've seen about lifting or putting down the toilet seat is that every guy in the world has pissed all over the ring of a toilet seat.
That's not true. There are many places in the world that they don't piss in toilets.
I'm just telling you my answer. I'm just telling you the answer.
Right, but
I'm not gonna lie. As a janitor, I'm here to tell you.
This is why Stone and Chris get along so well. Smart ass.
But is because they don't, don't want it. You're not.
It's the consideration.
You're not going to.
And I'm here to tell you. I'm here to tell you. As someone, I was a janitor in a hotel, and I was a janitor in a country club. And country club people, it surprises me because I taught elementary school and junior high, and I was a substitute teacher for a while. And I'm here to tell you, 4, 5, and 6-year-olds are cleaner in the fucking bathroom than the damn execs that I work with.
Let me tell you that.
Like, they are some of the dirtiest damn people.
Too. They just have.
They have people that clean it up.
Enzymes in their fucking urine because they eat better and drink better.
Every time I go to a corporate convention, the bathroom is in such a they literally wash their hands and throw the paper towel on the fucking counter.
Hey, when you have that kind of money, you don't have to.
They give a damn.
They
don't give a damn.
So
And I guess it's the Boy Scout.
To this
it's the Boy Scout in me. Pack out what you pack in. If I can throw that shit away.
Winchester came up with, because this.
Do it, Stoney.
I'm on my third wife.
Wisdom.
You think I haven't fucking had
wisdom from Stony Winchester, right here, folks.
It's an invention.
Do it.
Okay, so you've been to the movie theater.
Yeah.
Yes.
What happens when you stand up out of the seat? The seat goes up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope. There's no... It
doesn't work. That doesn't
work.
No, that does not work for the argument, because she sits down on the toilet seat, she gets up, it goes up, and then she bitches because the fucking toilet seat's up.
Buttons. We have buttons nowadays for everything.
Who the fuck's gonna buy a toilet seat?
Who the fuck buys a $6,000 heated fucking toilet that tilts
to get you off
when you fucking want to sit? So it meets your ass and sits the fuck back down, has a radio in it, and is self-cleaning. Tell me they won't pay for a fucking toilet where you hit a button and the seat goes up and goes down.
They have pee-pee lights now that are like color-changing LEDs that go inside your toilet.
You know what?
Bro.
You got a fucking button in your fucking car that's a preset for each fucking person that gets in that will move the seat to it once. You push the penis button and the fucking seat goes up. And then when you walk away, it's got a fucking motion detector.
It goes
down, and the seat goes the fuck down.
That's brilliant.
Okay.
We need to make it.
Yeah.
We need to make it.
I figured that shit out before they invented buttons. Okay? So
now,
that's because I was married in the 80s.
Being raised by a single mother, it was absolutely ingrained in me to lift and lower
My mother
the toilets.
didn't have to be single to know she didn't want to sit in my urine.
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely. Now, quite honestly,
whip your ass.
The one that even is a married man or a single man that bugged the fuck out of me with the bathroom with ladies. And guys, feel free to text in. Feel free to hop on to Dudes and Beer. There's a comment thing. Feel free to weigh in. If this is an issue with you, is your toilet paper hung against the patent for toilet paper?
Backwards.
Yeah.
Backwards.
Fuck that.
What is it with that? What is it with
Because it
that?
doesn't tear right.
Like
it always spins when you try and pull it.
Yeah, and what is it with every woman that I know that hangs their toilet paper backwards?
They say it's more sanitary for whatever fucking reason.
Okay,
I have no idea,
is it a front to back situation?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
It's always back to front in my house. I got shitty balls, so
that's confusing enough. Now you got to jack up the toilet paper. Like, there is a patent. It's supposed to be hung one way.
Yeah.
Like, this is how the patent works. Otherwise, there would be another toilet paper out there that's patented a different way.
Yeah. Right.
And that's how that would work.
Well, in some countries where they don't use toilets.
Hey, even at the Vatican, bro. Number one, you pay to use the bathroom. Number two, it is a tiled divot with a French drain at the bottom, and that's where you pee.
Middle East, they, Japan, they squat over a hole in the floor.
What's that?
How much do they charge you to use the restroom?
Oh, it's just a few lira. Now euros. It's probably like a euro. Something
they don't
like
have
that.
their own currency.
God damn that.
No,
in the Vatican.
Nope.
That's surprising too.
Well, they were always on the lira.
You can't just kiss the ring and.
Yeah, well, you have to remember that technically, and this is what a lot of people don't understand about the Vatican, because whenever the whole immigrant thing started and build the wall and all that, I remember Paul Joseph Watson from InfoWars
did a report.
Well, no, I'm relating.
You said build a wall and immigrant thing
because people talk about the Vatican being exclusive because there's a wall around it. Well, and it's like, number one, that was built a couple thousand. It was a couple thousand years ago, and it was built to keep out the Vandals from invading. It was a while back. It was a while back. Not a couple thousand, but it was like 1,500 years ago, bro.
Okay,
all right. It was within the first few popes but not only that. The Vatican is a city-state. It has its own embassy around the world. Not only that, but less than 1,000 people live at the Vatican. Its offices They don't even, like, people are like, why don't they take in refugees? Because literally they don't have a place to feed refugees. Like, they don't have a cafeteria.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
That's not how it
look
works.
this up.
Go for it.
And I hate to call you out, bro.
Where you
What?
click
The Vatican was built in 1929.
Okay. And that's, like I said.
You know, that's why I was like,
I know St. Peter's was built
the
way
Basilica was
long
probably
before
built
that.
well before
And
that.
yeah, but I mean,
No,
the
I
walled
was like,
city itself.
I was thinking like,
No, the walled city itself absolutely was right up around the time of Mussolini and everything else,
Okay.
because like all of that happened around the Vatican. Like they didn't come into the Vatican.
Yeah, literally, like I feel bad for having.
No.
And,
But you
I was
see,
curious. I was like,
no.
what was that
But
shit,
you see
though?
what happens, because this is a real discussion amongst real people. I gladly admit the fact that my date was wrong. I got no problem. I got no fucking issue.
That's what I was saying earlier.
That's what a grown-ass person does.
Jordan,
Yeah.
that's why I'm such a fan of like having conversations with Chris Jordan.
Thank you.
Because he
You realize
admits
though that
when I'm right.
Yeah.
So one of the only people.
I got no
'Cause this
problem admitting
motherfucker
that I'm
here
wrong.
will not ever admit when I'm right about anything.
You realize the Papal States was based out of Rome.
Yeah.
Though, right?
I didn't even know
And
they made
first-
paper there.
Anyways,
don't have many
and
trees.
that was when? That was the
Well, I mean,
medieval times.
The papacy started like way long before
Well,
that.
yeah, no, when they became an actual state themselves.
That wasn't until Constantine. Constantine was the person that first.
it wasn't it wasn't?
Yeah. He was the one that first made Catholicism the religion of the Roman state.
Okay.
He made the
So, hold
cross
on.
the symbol on the
Yeah.
shield.
So let me tell you,
legalized
like,
Christianity.
Let me tell you, and Chris Jordan probably remembers this because he's old as fuck.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Easily the 1400s.
I'll tell you, okay. So you're both wrong.
I know,
But
I'm just playing.
let me tell you, like, how fucking lucky. And I talk a lot of shit. Both of you know this. Anybody that knows me knows this. How much shit I talk about millennials.
Yeah.
And it's partially not their fault.
It didn't.
Because
It's our- it's-
no, it's not our fault.
It's not our fault.
Here's because
Shit, I'm barely older
we
than
were
them.
talking about it
definitely
earlier
is my
about
fault.
immediacy.
Yep.
A
A state of immediacy.
You
this
are
concept of immediacy.
You are 10 to 28 seconds away from knowing anything you want to know.
Yeah.
24 hours a day. When Chris and I were young, if you wanted to fucking know something, you asked your parents. If they didn't know, if you really fucking were curious,
Go to the library.
you go to the fucking library.
Yeah.
You fucking
I was
rifle through the fucking this crazy fucking card index thing, trying to find, and then you may go through 50 fucking books trying to find the answer, and you probably gave up way before that.
Yeah.
You were just like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
But what?
I was
It
very
took
fortunate
like
to
30,
have
30
like,
seconds into y'all's fucking thing about the Papal States before I knew the fucking answer.
Mm-hmm.
And it says Papal States territories of central Italy under the rule of the popes, 1756 through 1870. In the 15th century, the papal government displaced feudal magnates who had ruled the Papal States in the Middle Ages and imposed direct control over Rome.
Yeah.
1756 to 1870.
Well, yeah, but what I'm talking like Rome has been the
He's talking about when the papacy took over Rome.
Over Rome.
So you're talking about just the papacy thing?
And began when it after the Byzantine Empire and
I can
stuff like
tell
that.
you,
When
after Rome fell,
Yeah.
after the Eastern and
when
Western
the papacy
empires
became...
when the papacy took over
I'm talking
Rome and
about
became the governing body.
I'm talking
of
about
Rome.
like the era of like Charlemagne
Yeah.
and the Holy Roman Empire.
Exactly,
You know.
exactly.
Now,
You're
I
talking
gotta
about the
tell
time of
you-
the Crusades,
Yeah,
things like that.
yeah,
Which
absolutely.
is, yeah.
Absolutely.
I gotta tell you that I would have been the most hated child. I mean, I wasn't everybody's favorite
Yeah,
when I was a child.
You're my
But I
favorite.
gotta tell you that I would have been the most hated child on the planet had I
If you had
had
Google.
fucking Google.
Google.
You
Yeah.
motherfuckers.
You know what
are the
my Google
luckiest
was?
No, let me tell you, luckiest bastards
Encyclopedia
throughout
Britannica.
history. I am the most jealous motherfucker of like how lucky you guys are to have
When
the
I was a
fucking
kid,
internet.
I
Yeah.
couldn't just Google.
I look at the shit for everything. I want to know word origins. I want to know.
Yeah.
I looked up yo.
Yeah, you can look up etymologies.
No,
you can
I
look
looked
up everything.
the word fucking yo because I'm like,
that's
where
the term,
fuck?
Stone.
Yo.
Etymology.
Yeah. or it's word origins. Yeah. So no, I'll look that up in a second and see if you're right. No, I know
for it.
I know that's the word.
Not entomology. That's the study of insects.
Like bugs. Yeah. But I looked that shit up. I looked up yo the other day. Like
like
it's
what's
fucking Middle English.
Yeah.
Yo. There's so many things. That you think,
it
like,
started
came
in
from
sailor terms and stuff like that.
Yo, sergeant. Shit like that.
The yeoman.
And then,
and
then fucking, the Italians used it before African Americans used it. Yo, Joey, give me a beer.
Yeah.
It was always yo this, yo that. And, I looked up because my wife's a young black woman. I look up a lot lot of things that has to do with like her culture or whatever.
Where did it root?
I looked up axe.
Hey,
I want to ask you a question.
I'm a Cajun.
Guess what?
I'm a Cajun, son. I never, ever hear ask in my family.
Let me tell you that axe is Middle English.
Yes, it is.
It was the proper term before you said ask.
That's right. Because you were dividing something.
No, it was axion. Was the word.
My question for you, Mr.
Asking a question. Then it became askion. So originally it was axe. The shortened version was axe. You would ask somebody a question.
Yeah.
How the fuck does a culture hold on to Middle English before they spoke English?
Well,
I don't get that. I want to look it up, but I don't know how to word it.
It's really well, and
God
really,
damn it, I want to know.
Really, what it is
the thing that I learned from Jimmy. And I hate
Jimmy.
No.
I love Jimmy.
I do too, and I hate to reference.
Took me a long time to love Jimmy,
and I hate to reference. However, the thing I learned from Jimmy about the internet is you can literally ask the internet
anything.
The way you see it in your head.
Yeah,
and like I tell you,
that's because thousands of other people
no shit
have asked it just like we had that conversation during AI, and your buddy was like, no, it's just an algorithm.
Trial and error.
Well,
right? Like people didn't fucking look how we live nowadays. We didn't get to where we live nowadays. You're talking to a
stupid guy.
My grandfather Dalbus,
but anyways,
was one of the most Renaissance men that I knew. He was a carpenter by trade. He went into steel work and stuff like that. He literally was in the Houston Chronicle for growing a radish the size of a small child.
Big fucking small.
So, dude, 3 feet, a 3.5 foot radish.
There's a lot, dude.
What was your Google answer about the whole fucking papacy?
Let me tell you, I put it down because I was like, that might be a bit much. I didn't give a distinct answer without well, there's a lot of
there's a lot of ins and outs.
A lot of names and a lot of
that goes back to immediacy.
It doesn't clear. It just
everybody wants the answer.
Well, no, but in this
Google it, bro.
In this situation, it's not a let's have an entire 4-hour history lesson to try and figure out what they're trying to say. Yeah. Because for one, there's a lot of the Ostrogothic papacy, Byzantine papacy, and Frankish papacy.
And that's
over
just
the time the papacy consolidated. It wasn't an answer.
Well, no, and that's what a lot of people.
1493.
That's what a lot of people don't realize is at the time of the Visigoths and stuff like that, when the Inquisition happened, the Pope in Rome. The Pope was like, "Do not do this." There was a Pope in Spain. There was a Pope in France.
Right.
So
it
was the Pope in Spain that was like, "This has to happen."
The new one.
Hey, Pope Francis, I wish he'd leave our guns alone. But
you know what?
I understand he comes from a communist country where there are no guns.
I told you earlier, I try not to believe anything the fucking media says. I don't know the fucking dude.
Yeah, no,
they tried to convince you that Matt McConaughey lives in a fucking Airstream trailer.
Why do you love Francis?
Grill
why do you love Francis?
For the simple fact of what I've heard.
Yeah.
Which
heard?
I like him from what I've heard. Other than that, I'm not going to meet the guy, so it doesn't matter whether I like him or not.
Yeah.
But the whole, I don't live in the papal residence. I live in a small apartment. I have a 1973 fucking Toyota.
He lives in community.
Okay.
He lives.
You get what I'm saying.
Which, if you don't understand what that means, folks, as an ex-seminarian, basically that means you are living in a residence with 20, 30 other priests.
Shit, fucking Right.
But
the
you
thing
have
is,
what's
like,
called a cell, which is the equivalent of this room size,
Right.
and
It's
that's what
tiny,
you got, and
it's
that's
tiny,
what the Pope's living in.
And
like
it's
that.
it's
That's
what I'm not a religious person. You know how I feel about the whole subject.
Oh, absolutely.
From conversations on this show,
and off this
I
show.
don't believe in religion as it's laid out.
Yeah, the patriarchy and everything.
All of
else.
it.
Absolutely.
So, but I do know enough about religion. I was raised in religion that I know that according to the Bible and everything else, what your job is to be very humble.
Yeah.
Your only fucking thing in life that's supposed to bring you pleasure is serving God. That's it. You're not supposed to be eating extravagantly. You're not supposed to have nice fucking things. Just the bare bones. You're here to exist and spread the word of God. I'm a fucking TV evangelist and I have fucking millions and millions of dollars and I drive a fucking Mercedes and all this.
Now,
that's not... You're in it for the wrong fucking reasons.
Two of my personal favorite things about Francis. I'll get right back to you. The two of my personal favorite things. Number one. When he left Sao Paulo, Brazil, and when he went to the papacy, he actively called the Sao Paulo Gazette and canceled his membership. He did. He didn't have a secretary call and cancel his subscription to the newspaper.
It's like, I'm a dude.
Hey, nice to meet you, Pope. I don't live in Sao Paulo anymore. I probably need to cancel my membership.
That's reason enough to like.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I get it totally.
Number two, he is about the big red words. And as a Catholic, I love Paul. Don't get me wrong. I love Paul. But my issue is, why aren't we following the writings of Peter? He was the one that was left in charge. Paul's great. He was a convert. He did some awesome things. But that's where a lot of the judgment...
I was always a Ringo fan.
And things like that. But
Paul wasn't really Paul. He's that other guy.
For me, it's the fact of when it came to Lent and the washing of the feet. At Holy Thursday during Triduum, the beginning of Triduum, which is a holy season unto itself, the 3 days between Lent and the resurrection at Easter is Triduum. And at Holy Thursday is the symbolic washing of the feet, like Jesus washed the feet of the disciples. And he actively went to a prison and chose 12 prisoners to wash the feet of.
I don't speak Catholic. I have no idea what the fuck you just said.
Well, yeah.
I really
and I understand that, but the fact is,
I still
it was
think
the concept,
seminary is a dirty word.
It was the concept. It was the concept of you have just gone to what society considers to be the lowest of the low.
Yeah.
And
and I get it.
And you have lifted
like I said,
them up and considered them
fan.
the servants
I'm already
of God.
a fan. As much as I can be a fan of
that's like such a huge statement on humanity that like you can't even quantify that.
Well, and that's my thing. Like I said,
I've been somebody at Holy Thursday that's like had their feet washed.
I'm not religious.
I was
I'm
a
not
servant
religious,
of my community.
But I do admire truly good people.
Yeah.
Who do it? You know what?
Who do good things for good reasons.
Here's the thing: it's like you believe that's what this guy Christ, who, according to the writings, this super fucking awesome guy.
He's pretty good.
Totally.
The red words are,
dude, how I just said it.
No,
just
fucking
awesome,
man. The red words are pretty good.
Amazing fucking guy, right? According to the writings. Okay, so but you're actually striving to be that good.
That's it.
I admire that. Yeah. Because I like, if I was going to pick a religion, I'd pick Buddhism. Because it's all about just being fucking good to everybody.
But that's not a religion.
It's an ideology. It's a fucking philosophy. But either way, it's still worse. It's still approached as a religion. Either way, there's people that say, "I'm a Catholic. What are you? I'm a Buddhist."
Have you seen that movie?
Either way.
This is what I was going to say.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry,
it's called Silence. It's Martin Scorsese.
I have not yet.
Oh my.
I have not yet.
That's good, man. It's about two Catholic priests that go to find another Catholic priest in Japan, and during the whole feudal era, like the Sengoku Jidai and all that shit. There was the
history buff, man. I love fucking Cota.
What was the
Cota Brown?
What was the name of the clan? And that's going to drive me crazy right now.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Anyways, it doesn't matter.
Roll on.
Right. But they were fully in belief of God, right? Yeah. Of Christ, God. And it was, their clan was located in, like, Nagasaki, where they had
Trinity
all the
thing?
They had the whole.
That's not in the Bible. Christ being God is not in the Bible. Anyway.
Well, you know what I mean. Fucking,
I actually do know.
No, but
very well. It's not in the Bible.
They believe, and they didn't necessarily.
A lot of people do believe in Trinity,
and they didn't necessarily
believe
in Catholicism. They believed that Jesus Christ was God, and that's the thing. Is anyways, it was towards Nagasaki where like all the Westerners, traders, and shit.
Are you saying towards Nagasaki, like in? That's where it was, or are you talking about like
that's
the
where
incident,
that's
Nagasaki?
No. This is
so
way
feudal
before.
era.
This
My bad, I
feudal
forgot
era.
that part. Yeah.
So this, and then this was, and you know what the Sengoku Jidai was, right?
Totally not.
It was the Japanese Age of War. It's when they wanted to become, have the shogun.
It's where the shoguns were out
and
fighting for feudal lords.
The main shogun,
the age of the ninja and stuff like that.
It was the Tokugawa, right?
Yeah.
They became the shogun and ruled Japan, right, for however long.
Oh.
Anyways, one of the clans that was fighting in the Sengoku Jidai was believed in Christianity.
Yeah,
and the whole movie is about Japan's inquisitor spreading Shinto, right?
Oh, wow.
Their religion. So everybody that came to Japan, they're fucking just torturing and just killing off. They just wanted to kill Christianity. Anyways.
If you're not Shinto, then,
very like Catholic.
Yeah, and so anyways, but that's what the
we had our
movie's about.
issues.
But that's what the movie is about, and like. And it's that one guy that plays, I don't know fucking names, whatever. It's the guy that plays the Amazing Spider-Man. You know, the kid. And then of course Liam Neeson too. He's like the main guy.
Liam Neeson.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just got me.
Yeah. So anyways, but it's, and I got this movie and I'd never even heard of it, and I watched it, and then dude, it's just such a crazy movie.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
And at the end, it's like,
what's it called?
Scorsese. It's called Silence.
Okay.
Huh.
Another movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if either of you've seen it. I had never heard of it. I ran across it on Netflix.
Netflix, yeah.
Man from Earth.
Okay.
I've
heard of it. It's on my watch list.
It is like one of those. It's in one fucking room in a cabin.
I love that.
With like 8 or 9 people.
Like 12 Angry Men was like,
and it's everybody in the movie is like, you know who they all are. You've seen them in all kinds of 80s movies, but none of them, you don't know any of them. One of them was like The Greatest American Hero. That guy, whatever the fuck his name was. like it was that black guy. You know, that black guy from the 80s movies.
I have The Greatest American Hero on DVD.
Yeah, with the curly blonde hair.
And I'm trying to remember his name.
It's a terrible show, but I loved it when I was fucking 10 years old.
Well, one of my favorite movies
the movie,
ever is 12 Angry Men. I love that shit.
Watch this movie. A lot of what we were talking about is in this movie. So you got this college professor, and he's got tenure and everything, and he's quitting, and he's just moving on.
Yeah.
And his friends, who are all professors, don't understand why. Like, he's just up and like, I'm just going to quit, and I'm just going to go away.
Yeah.
Right? So they all go to his cabin. He lives out in the woods in his cabin, a little tiny cabin, and he's packing up, and they're all going to go say goodbye to him and whatever.
William Catt. William Catt was the Greatest American Hero.
That's with
William
K, right?
Catt, yeah. K-A-T-T.
So
had to
look up last
second thing that pop up on Google if you put in greatest, folks. Just so you know.
Look up Man from Earth.
Okay.
So they're going there to talk to him, and some of them talk about, or they want to talk about, like, you know, don't leave, and why would you do this? And well, he starts to tell them a story about, you know, he leads off with, like, there's some things I need to tell you. I want to tell you. You don't know about me.
Yeah.
I've been around a really long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And apparently he's been around a really, 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 really
like
long time.
Methuselah
like
long
in the
time.
story, and there's like everybody in the room fits into the group. As there's like a theology professor.
Oh wow!
There's a geology. There's all the right professors for this conversation. You know, they're all going to question it, and it's a big philosophy like. You know, that one of the people just loses it because she's the theology professor or whatever, and like, you're making me question God and existence and all this. But come to fight, and he's like, I'm one of the characters in the Bible. I'm not going to tell you who it is.
Okay.
But I'll get around to that.
Okay.
Oh.
Like, this guy's been around since the beginning.
Oh, wow.
Right.
One of my, and I hate to seg here, but one of my favorite books, and I'll be honest, I read a lot of technical shit.
Tell me there's not a .com at the end.
No, there is not. I'm not. It's not a shameless plug. It's not a shameless self promotion. I could totally plug Audible right here, but I'm not going to. But. And I'm not a huge fiction reader. I was a huge philosophy reader, huge psychology reader, and I think it mainly translated to me because when I was a kid, I read books about like building lasers and rocketry, and like to me,
I would never guess.
An instruction manual to me is an afternoon read. And I'll read an instruction manual over and over. You know, but for me to like sit back and read a Stephen King book or like Peter Benchley, like to read Jaws was like sufferable. It was like, oh my God. Even in high school when I had to read Tom Sawyer.
Yeah.
Or Huckleberry Finn, rather. Huckleberry Finn.
Well, that was a story about some pretty fucking ignorant
Yeah.
I mean.
But like halfway through, my English teacher pulled me aside and she was like, Chris, are you even still reading the story? And I'm like, no. Because like she saw my tests and my quizzes going down. And we had a paper due at the end of it. And she was like, as long as you do all right on the paper, you'll be okay for the 6 weeks. And I told her straight up, like, I'm sorry, but we're on chapter 10 right now, and it is as repetitive as can be. They go into a town, the Delphine fucks some shit up, they steal a chicken, they have to leave, and they hop on the raft, and they go to the next town, and they fuck it up again. It's like wash, rinse, repeat. Yeah. I'm sorry, I understand the fact that it's a great work of American literature, but it just doesn't like it doesn't snatch me up. It doesn't snatch me up. It was
but they were very stupid people that you had to write for.
It was a seminal form of literature at the time. All right,
stupid people.
But where I'm going with this, that's just like your opinion, man. Exactly, dude. Exactly. And Go ahead.
Okay, so what we were talking about was basically what you were talking about was it was hard for a very intelligent person to read a book written for stupid people.
What he was getting at is he was going to tell us the story that he really found awesome. That was
it was a manual on fucking like building some electronics.
The one story that I found that I had a friend of mine give me one day, and it's a book that to this day I keep a copy of on my shelf, and I keep a copy to give away. Like, I literally will go to have...
God damn it, what is it?
Whenever I give it away, I will go to half-price books and buy another one so I can give it away.
He hasn't given it to me, by the way.
Not yet. I will.
Just got his phone number.
Depends on what it is. I might have already read it.
Have you ever read Illusions by Richard Bach?
With an A?
Illusions? No. Illusions.
Yeah.
Illusions.
No. My grandma read that to me when I was
It's one of my favorite books ever. And it's called, the subtitle is Illusions, the story of a reluctant Messiah.
Yeah.
And it literally starts off with this dude, like, on the side of a river trying to explain what it is to be a fish in a river. And he's basically telling a parable to a bunch of people. And he's like, listen, like, the fish can spend its whole life trying to swim upstream, and it'll expend a lot of energy trying to fight the current. But if it understands the path in life and the path that God wants it to take, it will understand that it needs to go with the current of the stream, and it will conserve its energy, and it will have that energy to use at the moment of decision when it has to decide which part of the stream to go into.
Created, so the story makes no sense.
But still, what happened was the fact that this reluctant Messiah saw the fact that nobody got his analogy. Like, no light bulb in this audience went off, and he literally just walked away. And it was like, you know what? Y'all just don't get it. I quit.
Yeah.
And then he ends up meeting this dude that kind of like changes his life and like teaches him to like, you know, cloud bust, like basically focus on a cloud and disappear it from existence and things like that. And it goes on this crazy journey of self-finding. And to me, the day I read that, it was something that totally connected with me in my journey in life, in my spiritual journey, that I think so many people, like we've said, get caught up in the religion and they forget about the spirituality. The spirituality is what goes on between church and church.
So that's why you need to watch The Man from Earth.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Because
and I don't want to give any of the movies away. I want to really badly because it has to do with what we're talking about.
I want to
But watch it, and you're gonna be like, the way it's literally just the guy sitting there telling his story. They don't do flashbacks of him back in Roman era or any.
Yeah.
It's just him telling the story and their reactions and their emotions that come from finding out the reality of the history of mankind and what they've believed to be true and everything else. Is he lying? Is he just a great storyteller? Because this is a fucking amazing story.
Yeah.
But goddamn, why are you fucking with us? We've known you for fucking 20 years. Holy shit. And everything else. Watch that. You're going to fucking love it. But back to the part where we were talking about popular literature was written for stupid people generally.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no.
And I mean stupid people as in they had the knowledge that you were expected to have in the 1800s, 1700s, 1600s.
Which was
uneducated people.
Which was nothing.
If you could read, you were lucky.
If you could read, you probably read Latin.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm not even talking about that. You know, okay, so I'm focusing on the Tom Sawyer.
Yeah.
No, for
Okay.
sure.
Yeah, you're focusing on the
trying to
late
appease
1800s.
a bunch of fucking retarded ass rednecks in the 1800s.
Yeah,
basically.
where it's dime store novels.
That's paint the fence. You know,
I mean,
up
against everything else that was dime store novels and poetry.
We're talking about 1800s, which was
late 1800s.
Ignorant compared to us today.
Ignorant, I think, is how they said it.
Ignorant. But then you think about 2,000 years before that, or 1,000 years before that.
Oh no, when knowledge was
very ignorant people.
When knowledge was fully hidden.
Well,
fully hidden.
Okay, so
the high priests were the one that had the knowledge.
I have a point here.
Okay,
so
go ahead.
Out of that era, we have the Bible.
Sure.
Out of what era?
Before Tom Sawyer.
Okay.
Before they wrote a book.
Yeah. Okay.
We have the Torah.
Stupid people.
We have the Torah, and then we have the Bible.
Okay, which is the Torah is actually just the first half of the Bible.
Yeah.
But
well,
it's just the Hebrew Scriptures.
Technically, it's just the first 5 books.
Okay,
it's just the first.
And
5
I call that the first half, whatever. Because
there's Maccabees and all that kind of stuff.
I consider half of the Bible just fucking random stories and family lineages that have nothing to do with anything.
Oh, yeah, that's half of Genesis.
Seth begat so-and-so and begat so-and-so. Like, there's a bunch of
that's half of Genesis
in the Bible that, like, has nothing to do with who cares.
Yeah.
We really don't care about your family lineage. We really don't. It doesn't tell us anything about God. So, but this book, written for a bunch of people who wandered around the desert, didn't know how to cook their meat properly without fucking dying, didn't know jack shit about jack shit, and fucking just ate what they could, and didn't even the
kosher rules, and that's the thing. It's like if
they
you
were
look
to keep
at
you safe.
Yeah. Because you're looking at living in the desert. The 10 Commandments are the perfect
to keep
rules.
You safe.
They were the perfect rules for a tribal society.
Don't covet thy neighbor's wife because he's going to see you and he's going to fucking kill you. Don't eat animals with a split hoof and all that. That's not a fucking thing. But you know what I mean? These rules.
Yeah.
They were rules to keep you safe and alive. And
that's right.
And when they said don't tattoo your flesh because you didn't fucking use autoclave to fucking sterilize your needles. You're going to get sick and die from a simple fucking infection. Like, most of the rules in the Bible,
they were common sense rules.
They're not common sense then. They are now.
Yeah.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like, don't do these things because you're gonna fucking die.
But people forget that they were rules for a tribal society, and they were rules for you lived in a community of 50 tents that moved from day to day.
Let me just say this. Let me just say this.
Go ahead.
And I absolutely don't disagree with you, so I'm just gonna start that right now. But me, I fucking love the story of Moses. Like, the whole
Oh,
fucking...
it's some dope shit.
Like, it's super fucking
Okay.
awesome. Now, whether it happened the way it happened or whatever...
Totally, once again...
The Exodus did happen,
perception...
even according to Egyptian tradition.
Yeah.
Well, totally, again, perception and intention.
Yeah, no,
Because
absolutely.
people hear me talk, and they don't listen to what I'm saying, or they don't hear the whole thing.
I'm sorry, what
Not
was
saying-
that?
Yeah.
Now, we've talked on your podcast,
Yeah.
and I've never fully explained my complete belief system, and not beliefs,
You
but
don't
my
necessarily
theories.
have to. You don't
My
necessarily
theories.
have to quantify
And
yourself
by
on the
saying
show.
that, don't
I'm-
think I'm like a fucking
No,
religious zealot or anything,
not at all. Because
The
my
farthest
thing
ever
is
where we're fucking-
by saying that most I think a lot of the Bible is stuff we don't need to know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm totally into the Bible. I grew up
Yeah.
probably more so than either one of you.
The
Probably
most
more so
popular
than
book ever
50
sold.
people I know combined. Like
Bestseller every year.
But in a totally different way than because there's I like a lot of the stories.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of the stories
sure.
make me completely anti-God
Sure.
Yeah.
because the Bible is the most contradictory book.
You're hard pressed to find a descendant of the Hittites, because God said, "Go smite them, wipe them off the face of the earth, and wipe away any trace of their generation."
Bro, even worse. The worst story that story that like pisses me off the most about the God in the Bible is when the I don't remember the dude's name, some bald-headed fucking dude that God liked.
All right.
And he was walking, and all these little kids, like 30 little kids, are hey, baldy, hey, and God sent 2 she-bears down the fucking mountain to slaughter all the little kids.
Whoa.
And I'm like, you know what? Fuck you, dude.
Hey,
Those are little fucking kids.
My
And you're
personal-
gonna fucking, because that's your buddy, you're gonna have some bears go fucking slaughter a bunch of little kids. Okay,
Right.
so these are just stories, though, to me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Those are just stories, whatever.
Yeah.
I realized that, like, back in those days, okay, little kids were making fun of a dude who said he was God's buddy, and some bears literally just showed up and killed some little kids, and they're gonna blame they're gonna blame God, say, well, God you shouldn't have made fun of it. See what happens? Or maybe it's just a story people made up to scare the little kids into not teasing people. Okay,
That
but
was
my
Elisha.
thing is, there's
once
so
again
much,
in the book of Genesis.
Was it Elijah?
the
No,
beautiful...
not Elijah. Elisha.
Okay.
In the book of Genesis.
My big thing on and you
The
both know.
beautiful thing about the world is that it doesn't necessarily have to be beautiful.
Well, and what's
No,
interesting though
that's
is
what I like the
even
most.
going back to the book of Genesis, because as you well know, I taught religion for a long time,
Right,
and
right.
my favorite thing to teach in 7th grade and in 9th grade. And it didn't matter to me. I was given a book of curriculum and a bunch of like student books, and every year at the end service, I just pushed them to the middle of the table. And they're like, "Good God, what do you teach from?" I'm like, "I don't know what we read on Sunday." That's what I base my class on. I base it on the readings that are happening on Sunday, and I tell them how to relate those to their
Hence
life
the
every day.
podcast and him what he saw on Facebook.
Yeah, and for me, the book of Genesis was one that I started every class with, because if you don't understand that and you don't understand the concept, and this is the book of Moses, people, but even any good rabbi will tell you that it is an allegory. The story of creation has the first story and the second story. They are back to back, and one's a Mesopotamian tradition, one's a Babylonian tradition.
I think
and
this is my favorite though. And
it's
I
some
don't
great, it's some
I think
fantastic
I
stuff.
think it's the one filled most with fact, and people don't look at it right because
It's hard to
people are
look at.
still-
It's hard to look
it
at.
boils down to interpretation.
No,
like
well, the
we
thing
talked
is, it's
about.
not even. There's too many people want to like talk about interpretation. How about let's look at fucking math and science?
Okay, here's the problem, though, is that there's two different stories that have two different timelines of
Can we go down the no-no road?
Hold on,
down the no-no.
There is no road on
but that's just.
You'll sign the disclaimer later.
But that's just in the Hebrew Scriptures / the Torah, whatever.
Yeah,
because all those same stories are in the Mahabharata and the.
The story of the flood, absolutely.
Okay, so here's the thing: is like if you.
Story of the floods worldwide.
This is actually absolutely what I was getting at with my whole Tom Sawyer and everything else. It's like,
oh my God! Imagine if Tom Sawyer was a modern day epic of Gilgamesh.
Right? It totally
what the fuck, dude?
I know, right?
Holy shit! I need to reread Tom Sawyer
now. I totally want to just
holy
kill myself.
Fuck! That just totally opened the wormhole in my mind.
So my point was that it was written. Not only for a stupid people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and that's
or
just
ignorant people. They were ignorant
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Keep on.
Possibilities and everything else. But it was written less for them than people realize. I think people really in the back of their head think it was okay. So this is just the way it is. We're going to take it. It's not about interpretation. There's so much math involved in Genesis. There's so much science involved in Genesis.
There is now that we know what it is.
No, absolutely not. Because
the common folk did not know that.
I'm going to go back to actually
the common folk
beyond those common folk existed. We're talking 10,000 years before Christ. There were writings.
Oh no, I'm with you.
Explained all these.
I'm with you.
Okay. And this science and this math was in there. Yeah. And all this was written down very clearly.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not saying our history was not lost on us.
Even as simple as 1,000 years to man is but a day to God.
Yeah.
In Genesis.
Yeah.
Is the fucking mathematical formula for fucking space travel at the speed of light. If you leave this fucking spot at the speed of light and return 24 hours later on your fucking watch, it's been 1,000 years on Earth. That's fucking science, bro. That's fucking
pretty,
math.
Yeah,
that's not
pretty dead on.
Now, 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, people wouldn't have fucking understood that because they had no fucking clue.
Yeah.
Unless they fucking read some Mesopotamian / Sumerian fucking writings where they had all this fucking math and they had all this science and they knew exactly how many planets there were in the solar system.
Yeah.
They knew exactly the distance between each one and they knew approach patterns for flying. They knew all this shit.
Yeah.
It was all written down.
But all that shit was acquired through time. Like, that's the thing is every
that was around 10,000 years before Christ.
Yeah.
That was all written down 10,000 years before Christ. It was lost.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what I'm saying.
And we got really stupid again.
Is that it's lost knowledge, and that's where the whole Tower of Babel
and all, like and a lot of this might have been in the fucking the Great Library, was it Alexandria or whatever that burned, and we probably had shit tons of information that wasn't necessarily
maps
really available
that don't exist anymore,
the public, and they couldn't even fucking read or whatever. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, hell, right now, even the Perry Reese map is a prime example.
Talking about an Earth map, like why the fuck do they have?
No. It's the fact that the Perry Reese map is one that literally before it should exist and before its discovery actually shows.
A map of what?
It shows the coastline of Antarctica.
Okay.
Before the discovery of Antarctica.
Okay, but they had plenty. They had,
and that's a verifiable cartography.
If you look at the Sumerian, they had those maps of the entire fucking planet.
Oh yeah,
all the continents.
Yeah,
people didn't fucking do that shit.
Yeah.
And
well, why is it that you find coca leaves in the belly of mummies when the only place they grow is South America, and they both have pyramids?
Well, if you look at the pyramids, and how they were laid out on all the continents with exact distances in a certain fucking
in a circle around the
you
Earth,
would have had to. I mean, either there's some really badass coincidences, and it's a pretty badass coincidence, or somebody's just reading into some math that
even just
holy shit, that's pretty cool.
Even just the pure straight up alignment of the Great Pyramids of Giza. To the belt of Orion.
Well, you don't even have to do that. You have to look at, how the fuck did anybody build the fucking pyramids. On the Giza Plateau.
Thousands
Because
of
we
volunteers.
still can't do it.
Yeah. No.
No. The
Even on
blocks
scale.
used-
On scale.
The blocks used in a lot of in quite a few sites around the world. The blocks used, if we used, I saw they did all the math.
Yeah.
On the weight.
No, there's
and the
a
size
national.
and the
There's
shape.
a Nat Geo doc
If they
on it.
used our largest fucking cranes
Yeah.
for one block, you'd need like 20 of our largest fucking mobile cranes to pick this thing up, and then you couldn't fucking move it because you're in a circle around
Yeah.
the fucking thing, and you couldn't just drive it over here.
Yeah.
We could not, and then you got to stack that motherfucker way the fuck up there.
Yeah.
It's not fucking. All the other pyramids in Egypt, easily doable.
Yeah.
It took
The
a lot of
step
fucking
pyramids,
Jews.
the step
It's some
pyramids,
fucking,
and everything else.
a lot of people lost their fucking ass.
Well, and
over that shit. volunteers.
There's no I was going to say there's no actual proof that the Jewish people were the ones that built the pyramids. However, there were slaves involved,
Oh,
but
we
they
got
also got
Holocaust
they also got
denier.
a wage, and there were a lot of people that like you said, were volunteers that came and worked.
The
and
Chinese
actually
totally wanted to build our railroad too.
part of the wage. I'm not saying that they were voluntary slaves. There were definitely
Cotton pickers.
slaves involved. All right,
They got to eat.
but they also were fed regularly. And part of their ration was
Rightly so,
actually
if they wanna
was
live and-
actually beer every day.
Yeah.
Like they got beer at the end of every shift.
And the Chinese Boxer Rebellion, like, give them opium and they won't
Yeah.
rise up. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
give 'em beer and they won't fucking
give
fight
them
you.
some watered down hops, brew, and we'll.
No, and on the pyramids of Giza, I mean, there's absolutely
That's
the
getting into my
Mesopotamians.
shit, though. I love the opium war. That's my favorite.
The Mesopotamians, they wrote in their writings like thousands of years before the Egyptians even were in Egypt. There wasn't a populated. Those pyramids were there. Those three pyramids were there before Egypt was
they
there.
said
The
that-
land was there, but they said one of their trade routes passed through there. They were there. They didn't know what the fuck
I
they were
said
for.
that like some of the most like complex math ever created was by the Phoenicians.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and they said
So-
that humans first existed. We evolved from Africa. Now they're saying Europe. So
Yeah, because we just don't fucking know.
no, I know. That's the thing. It's like between me and my brother, we knew everything.
Everything.
If I don't know it,
He knows it. Yeah, there you go.
he did.
You said that it's not possible for the pyramids, but they're there.
They totally
So,
are.
they
But
are
no,
there.
what I said was for humans to build them.
Oh, so aliens.
I didn't say that. But yeah, totally.
Yeah. What about like the Atlanteans or some shit? came
Well,
from the water?
we actually don't have proof that place actually exists. We do have proof that the pyramids of Giza are there. So
Yeah, but
yeah, no, there's no but. They're
There's-
really there.
there's no proof that it was like aliens. There's no
but
proof
we
that it was.
still don't have the capability to do it.
So one documentary said.
No, it's a fact. No, it's a fact. We can't stack blocks that
can't.
big.
Yeah.
We can't do it. If we could, believe me, somebody would have already redone it. just to prove it.
Okay. There is one person who has supposedly, and I'm trying to remember the gentleman's name, but Coral Castle in Florida is the one man who said that he attained the technology
Yeah,
that the
I've seen
Egyptians used to build the pyramids. And this one man
But
literally...
has he replicated?
Okay, here's the thing. Yes, because this one man
Yeah, I
literally moved like by himself with no mechanical means. Even his neighbors were like, we would wake up in the morning and there would be a 3-ton chunk of coral in his yard.
Gotcha.
No truck delivered it, nothing like that. It's down in Florida. It's called Coral Castle.
I've seen a TV show where it's
and literally like
I didn't
nobody
see any-
nobody knows how the man built it. He was a sculptor and he literally moved like multiple ton pieces of coral by himself into place and sculpted
Now we're talking
them.
about multiple ton. I look
Yeah.
up Coral Castle. I don't see one picture of a Coral Castle.
No. It's basically just like a huge sculpture garden.
I know, but I don't see one.
Just because...
Oh, you're a crazy person.
No, I literally...
You're nuts, dude.
Just because...
And you know coral is, like,
we've
hella
lost...
light compared to, like, what was used.
Oh, no. No, it isn't, dude. No.
It's like,
No.
Just because humanity...
Coral structure, yes. But when you're talking about concreted coral... Like, what has become stone?
I got you.
No. That shit is like fucking brick, dude.
Yeah.
So that's Coral Castle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I see not anything that resembles anything
that's what I'm saying.
Magnificent or massive.
Until you start reading about, like, the tonnage of that friggin' block that is the moon and stuff like that, where it's like a 4-ton block of coral. Okay. That one man moved by himself.
I'll say
by means that nobody knows.
That's awesome that nobody knew.
And
nobody still knows.
Right, which means we don't know what he brought in the middle of the night. But
he was claiming like no, and that's just it. There are no tractor tracks. Like the neighbors were like, there was nothing that came in the middle of the night. Nothing like that. And to this day,
because humanity has lost the techniques in which to fucking do that shit.
Oh no!
Does
like you can watch
that at one point.
You can watch videos. You can watch videos online where straight up with cymatics and the right frequency, they are levitating water droplets and shit like that.
Yeah,
like straight up. I mean, the Rosslyn Motet.
Totally the same thing.
And I know we talked about the Rosslyn Motet before. It's one of my favorite pieces in the world. In Rosslyn Chapel, which is the end of Da Vinci Code. That's where they go. That's where they find the Holy Grail and everything else. But Rosslyn Chapel, to this day, they don't know why it was built. They don't know how it was built with the intricacy in which it was. But this one guy noticed that on the top of all these columns were actual geometric shapes. And that if you took those shapes cymatically, they were actually a frequency. They were like a note on the musical scale.
Oh, okay.
So like if you tuned in like 10 steps above C, this pattern showed up on sand when it was put on a film over a speaker, and you dialed in that note. This is the pattern that showed up, and it's up there on that column. And this other note's up there on that column, and stuff like that. And he actually wrote a piece of music based on the scale of these images that are on the Rosslyn Chapel.
So it's interesting, your approach, and I'm pretty sure we've got to have talked about this before, but... So, are you in complete denial that we've had influence?
Have influence?
Have had influence externally from something greater than ourselves, from
outside of this.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
No, it's literally a question because it felt like you were getting at like.
But no, my thing is that nowadays. Everybody automatically wants to go to that.
No, here's the thing with me. I've been studying this for fucking forever.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that
this isn't I just want to automatically say, oh, look at the shape of that thing. It's got to be alien influence.
No. Yeah,
mine's off a lot of years of research and a lot of years of study and a lot of Von Daniken, which
not just that, but hey, man, there's pottery. Like number one, you talk about the Nazca lines, and I'm sorry, but there's
Nazca lines don't prove shit to me.
No. I'm not talking about aliens, but they're active. Just talking about the Nazca lines, there is active pottery that shows people in what would be hot air balloons.
Well,
where it's a pyramidal shape, and they've got like a fire in a basket. And that explains a lot as to how the fucking Nazca lines could be surveyed if somebody understood how the hell to make a hot air balloon. Which is a pretty simple technology. It's not incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It
requires no moving parts. Maybe some very light vellum or animal skin. Maybe even something that's paper. Papyrus would work. Like Chinese lanterns.
Older stuff that
you got
stuff like that.
Whenever you look at, and he's showing, just so you know, folks, just so you know, he's showing the pictures from the Temple of Abydos that actively show what looks like a Cobra helicopter.
Well, and then the other ship that's over there.
Well,
and whatever,
yeah.
debunked or not. There's too many things. Like,
I'm not.
so what I was saying about like
you marry that
Not-
with. I'm just going off the Temple of Abydos, the image of the Cobra helicopter, and imagine, because you know the Bible and the way it's interpreted. Imagine what they talk about in the Bible, the swarm of locusts and everything else that they now equate to helicopters.
Well,
Imagine the marriage between the two and the long
so you're
marriage.
talking about the 10
That's
plagues?
a mind trip in and of
Are you
itself.
talking about the 10 plagues with the swarm of locusts?
Well, no, I'm not talking about the 10 plagues. I'm talking about the book of Revelations,
Okay, I got it.
where they talk about the locusts coming, and they talk about the swarm of locusts
and all of those
now being equated to
and all
helicopters.
of those like
as we know.
Mahabharata and like all these religious
Yeah,
texts
the
around the world
Vimana.
where, like there's flying gods and they always
The
there's
Vimana.
always some dragon type thing where there's flames shooting out of it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's always like these great air battles
Quetzalcoatl.
and
the
So,
serpent god.
Here's the thing to think about. What if instead of aliens,
Yeah.
what if at some point in our future we
I was about to say something about
we
those.
fucking
Yes.
find out about time travel?
Exactly.
Well,
and
it
we go
doesn't
back
have to be that. It doesn't have to be
No,
that.
I'm just saying.
No, I'm
like,
saying even simpler because we're starting to understand a lot more about parallel dimensions, possibilities, and everything else. I was just having this conversation with my son the other day about ghosts
yeah.
and parallel dimensions.
Yep.
So you have yourself
See, I like
in the
this.
same room
Yeah.
in
Raise
innumerable parallel dimensions.
raise your hand if you have had a paranormal experience in your life.
Right, do you have to explain exactly the definition of what you mean by
No.
that?
Parallel.
Because I've
What?
tripped a
No,
lot
no,
of
no.
acid.
No. I'm with you, and I've
It
had
felt
some
pretty
crazy.
paranormal.
And,
bro.
yeah, no,
I've had some
sure.
crazy experiences on
Yeah, me too,
experiences
but
on acid,
no,
but I've
I'm
also
talking-
had shared experiences where me and the other person on acid saw it, and someone who was sober, who not only was sober, but
So
was
you're saying maybe
but
because
was,
you're on acid, you tuned
but,
in this
but-
frequency
but-
that like.
but was autistic. The neighbor was autistic.
I don't trust
saw the
autistic
same thing that we did,
my
and the next year when we saw him
There's
at New
something wrong with
Year.
those people, man.
No,
They're in
well,
tune
I
to
mean,
some shit
it
I'm
was
not in
really,
tune to.
it was
I
really
don't like
more. He was really more what we would call nowadays like high functioning Asperger's.
Yes.
You know, like he
I really don't like those people. They're mean.
he fucking like the next year at New Year's, he was like, "Hey, you guys remember last year whenever we saw this thing?" And it was like, "What the fuck, dude?
What the
like?"
fuck?
It's
You told
one
me that
thing for
story.
us drunk, high,
We
and
had
on
this
acid to
conversation
see
before.
something.
Yeah,
But for
when-
him to
yeah.
have shared the experience, and I've had the experience of shared dream, where I've actually shared the same active dream with people, and I've had some pretty intense paranormal experience. You know, doing ghost hunts and things
So,
like
yeah,
that. where wild things have
I
happened.
still ask for a definition of paranormal experience.
What you would say is beyond the normal and definitely took you somewhere that
Oh my
you
God,
were
that's half my
uncomfortable.
life.
No, but definitely took you somewhere
See,
that you were
that's why I'm
uncomfortable.
saying, what's the definition? Because are you talking about like aliens, ghosts? Like, are you?
God, I
trying to
wish it
say,
was
like,
aliens.
Just not your normal everyday.
I've definitely had the ghost paranormal experience.
Okay,
I've definitely
so,
had the shadow person
Listen to my
paranormal
ghost fucking
experience.
story.
Go.
Let's hear it.
And this
Do
is what
it.
I was talking about about my son. You know anything? You know enough about quantum physics, quantum foam, the delicate foam,
Yeah,
separating the different
Yeah.
parallel dimensions, blah blah blah. Very delicate. Could be holes, could be tears,
Yeah.
Sure.
whatever. So you're in your house, and you hear footsteps. Or a light switch turns on, or all these
Yeah.
ghost stories. Like, oh my god! So when I was a kid,
Used to have this table in my old apartment, and I swear to God, the only thing I'd ever fucking put on this table is my keys when I got home from work.
like a tea table by the door,
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Keys, cigarettes, and my lighter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And every time I fucking throw my pack of cigarettes on the table, and I can go like this, right in the middle. And I'd go take a piss. There's no windows open. There's no fucking fan on. There's no fucking nothing. I come back out from taking a piss. My fucking cigarettes are like that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Every
so
fucking time.
perfect example.
Go ahead, Stoney.
So you are in the same room in possibly innumerable different dimensions.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah,
I'm totally with this conversation.
So with the little tears in the quantum foam, little frequency overlaps, whatever.
Yeah.
You hear yourself in the same room doing something, or accidentally the same exact light switch in the other dimension. You turned it on.
Yeah.
In the other dimension.
Yeah.
And you scared the shit out of yourself in this dimension. You're thinking it's a fucking ghost, or you're seeing an image down the hall.
Ooh, dude, that's a trip fucking theory,
ghosted
bro.
image of somebody down the hall. Well, guess what? It's your grandmother.
That's actually a reverberation.
It's your grandmother who's dead.
Yeah.
Okay?
But
well, guess what? In the other dimension, she didn't fucking die of cancer.
Yeah.
She's still alive. And she's down the fucking hall. And you're just seeing a fucking ghosted image of her because she's
you're seeing,
fucking there.
You're seeing a ripple.
In that fucking hall.
You're seeing a ripple through the dimension.
There's just a tear in the quantum foam, and you're just fucking seeing something that's really fucking there.
I'm dope with that.
It's just not there in your fucking dimension.
I'm dope with that.
Yeah. Okay, but the funniest thing about the whole thing is you hear the fucking footsteps in the fucking hall, and you're fucking scared because there's a fucking ghost in your house. But guess who the fuck else is scared? You in the other dimension, because he hears you fucking freaking out and running through the fucking house.
Yeah.
And you're scaring yourself.
I like that.
Wow.
I like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Something I'm going to share with
fuck
my
all
child.
Of you. Don't put this shit on air. Because I want to make a movie out of it now.
Too late, bro.
Too late, bro.
Too late,
you know what?
Here's the thing.
Can you copyright or whatever over the fucking air? Like,
here's the thing. It will be published. Okay. So anybody takes your idea.
Like
you had your idea.
Put it in an envelope.
That's the poor man's copyright. Exactly.
It's out there. Your ass.
It's out there. Right. It's out there. It exists. If I see that script come about.
But that's the thing. Is where like I was getting at earlier about like. Everybody wants to make a ooky spooky fucking highly spiritual voodoo thing out of like a lot of the Bible.
Well, you've seen the movie,
and I feel like that a lot of it is just the science and the Ezekiel and the Golden Wheel.
For me,
definitely describes a fucking spaceship.
The way I explained the Book of Genesis, and because here you have the Book of Genesis in subtitle, the Book of Moses. Here you have. The son of Pharaoh, one of the most literate people that you would be able to get. The man would literally speak and read 3 languages, all right?
Yeah.
Writing something in the most simplistic form possible? No. I'm sorry. It's a gathering of stories, and it's really much more of a concept of a dad and a son sitting around at a fire and going, hey, how did this come to be? And dad's telling him a story. The son of son begat so-and-so, begat so-and-so. And, that's how this thing is told. It's told in a very campfire concept from somebody that's supposed to be. And that's just it. It's explaining a hard, deep concept to very simple people in a very broken down way. And it's a beautiful, beautiful. Like I said, I love the Book of Genesis because
I like the Bible. I think the Revelations is the scariest.
Oh, dude, you need
piece
to.
Of
I gave you
ever written.
Okay.
Are you kidding me?
Last time we were together, I went through great lengths to give you a copy of Tribulation. And I remember this. Were you able to listen to it?
No.
Okay.
I just didn't even try.
Okay, that's all right.
No, I'm just really set in my views at this point.
Well, no, like I
grew
did
up
a
a
whole...
Jehovah's Witness kid, okay?
I did a
taught,
whole...
It's forced on you.
Oh, yeah, it is.
They even call it the truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they call their religion.
You got the mission.
Okay, so you're I love the religion. The people are amazing. Yes, they really are. Some of the best people on the planet. Some of the nicest. Do anything for you. Kindest people. They live their life to try and follow the rules given by the Bible. Some of the only people that I've met in my life.
Absolutely.
Around throughout my life that literally just try and follow the rules and try and be as Christ-like as possible. They really are good people. But I don't agree with any of the religions. So But
They don't believe in the
so growing up with
religion.
that, you're brainwashed as the truth.
You are.
Truth. So you automatically, even if you leave, you think there's got to be a truth because it was put into me that there's a truth.
There's something there.
So you have to look. So if you look online, there's more groups and groups to try and help you get past being a Jehovah's Witness child,
and that's,
than any other group. Like it's pretty huge.
It's hardcore,
right? It's so. Kids really have a problem when they leave, and you dabble in everything. You try every religion and the cult and everything. There's got to be something out there. It's got to be there. It's got to be there. It's got to be there.
The only people that actually have the same kind of struggle is actually kids on Rumspringa.
Yeah, man, but they just slut the fuck out. And
dude, they go...
Man, they have the most fun, dude. I want to be fuck a goat, and I want to fucking do heroin.
Yeah.
The first day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a whole documentary about them, like, going out and trying meth and stuff like that, and becoming, like, meth heads for a year.
You got to try everything.
And shit like that, because it's
and then
their
go
1
back
year.
and be a fucking...
And then go back and be a
be honest,
good, do what you're supposed to do. And in Jehovah's Witness, there's the mission. Where you go on the mission and you go out and you try to talk to people. And I remember a very good friend of mine in high school.
It's totally different.
Was Jehovah's
being a
Witness.
Missionary is just...
Quite honestly, I'll tell you this, people. And I know quite a few people that were Jehovah's Witness and brought up in it. I had an aunt and uncle that were very devout. We had a lot of conversations, and I remember Leighton was one of the only people as an adult that was like, that kid's got something to him. Like, I could sit back and talk to Chris all day. And I was like friggin' 12, 13 years old. I loved sitting back and visiting with them. But my friend's father, who was actually a minister in his church for the Jehovah's Witnesses, was one of the only people when I entered the seminary and was talking about it, who pulled me aside and literally, like, I'd see literally how I knew his dad and mom was coming to pick him up to hang out. Mm-hmm. Like, I was the dude that came and got him so that he could get the fuck out of the house and get away from this shit. Mm-hmm. And literally, he was one of the only people that pulled me aside and told me what an honorable thing I was doing. To follow the path that I was even to follow the question. To be following the path of the question was honorable. And was a good thing, despite where it leads you, despite what happens. The fact is, you're following a question, and that's what you're supposed to be doing in life. And that always rang with me. And even to this day, it's something that, like, I don't do things without purpose. Like, I don't reach out to people without purpose. One of the main reasons I brought you onto this show, Stone, was because we had a conversation with purpose. And like, I can bullshit with people all day, with the best of them, but when I have a conversation like I have with Cota, like, he is a millennial. But straight up,
I don't think so. I think he was born at that time.
He suffers the curse. He is a marked one.
He's old school.
But literally,
and I think it's
Cota is a student of history.
That's why
he's a student of history. Like, even just listen to him talking about the Japanese and everything else. Like, he knows his shit. Man, and he is educated, and he's taken the time to educate himself.
Well, he knows what old school means, and that's why he's not a millennial at heart. Well, in my opinion.
Millennial or not.
Well, because if you don't understand
to
the
me,
struggles
it's the fact
people have dealt with, you're not. It's the fact that a lot of these kids don't know the struggles people dealt with, and that's why they feel they should have it so easy.
Well, it's the fact of he looks at life with depth. He looks at life from many different angles. He doesn't look at it from just the...
He's not always right, but he tries real hard.
I try.
Hey, I'm not always right, but I try real hard.
Well, I can't.
Hell, I wasn't right earlier in this podcast, and I admitted I was wrong. Because that's what human beings do.
You're only off by like 2,000 years, bro.
Yeah, man. It's all right.
Big a deal.
It's all right.
Yeah. Well,
but it's literally, you know, even now, there was an article that I posted on Dudes and Beer on the Facebook group the other day about how they've discovered like 2 skeletons in Europe that predate.
I talked about that
Yeah.
today.
That predate skeletons in Africa.
I loved Chris Head's response. Like, why would you want to like claim pride on being the first people?
Yeah, I'm
Like,
being the first screw up.
Fucking monkeys.
Yeah.
The first monkeys.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I took it. That's how I took that word. If it's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's so fucking what, man? And that whole conversation, I'm so sick of. My son is such a, you know, he's in college and it's all like, you know, super fucking. There's no such thing as creation. It's all evolution, and they've got skeletons, and I'm like,
They don't have all of them.
They got a ton of skeletons from the same era.
Yeah.
You know, you had like fucking 40 different bipedal fucking species.
Yeah,
at the
there's-
same time.
Yeah.
I just saw a movie the other day. I fucking love Netflix because I end up.
Mhm.
I'm so bored with. I've seen everything,
What
so
were
I
you
keep
watching?
watching. I don't know what the fuck it was, but he was talking
Explain it.
about. He was talking about that there have been so many bipedal species, and there were so many bipedal species at the time when we existed, and we were just the meanest bastards.
Yeah.
We killed off the rest of them. That's all. We didn't evolve from them.
Yeah.
We just killed them all because we're
Yeah.
fucking mean.
Yeah,
And
straight
I was
up
like,
chimpanzee.
that's fucking right.
Straight up
The only
chimpanzee
reason we
troop,
put
dude.
fucking chimps in the fucking zoo is because we could put chimps in the fucking zoo.
Yeah.
And they couldn't fucking make weapons and fight against us.
Yeah.
So we're like,
Yeah.
you're fucking monkeys. You're gonna
Yeah.
go in our zoo.
That's
we're gonna look at you and laugh at
even
you.
the episode where we were talking about AI. Remember the clip that I played where where it was the
With the Planet of the Apes shit or
well
something?
no it was the clip from the Android. The clip. Oh my God! You don't have your phone on stun, dude.
I do
I will
now.
fucking destroy you.
I will
I gotta
fucking.
pee in
He's
get
got to
your
go
last
pee
name.
and talk to his wife real quick.
Yeah.
So yeah, but the clip that I played was actively an android of Philip K. Dick, the great science fiction writer, and this android, via program, has been inputted with all of his writings, all of his lectures, everything else, but organically forms its thoughts from all of these previously based things that came out of Philip K. Dick's head.
Yeah.
And it's wild because the dude from like National Geographic is interviewing him and he's like, oh, well, what'll happen like the day that robots take over humanity? He's like, don't worry, my friend. I like you. And I'll make sure that I have a good place for you in my people zoo. And I'll come by and visit you every day. And it's one of those like, oh my God, number one, this wasn't a pre-programmed response. It was something that through the writings of Philip K. Dick, it came up with this concept in response. So number one, this dude programmed sarcasm into a robot.
That's fucking.
Which is incredible.
Yeah.
Like there's the first case. There's some sarcasm that just came out of a robot.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, it just free-formed a sarcastic thought. Off the writings of somebody and off lectures and things like that, just like randomly associating thoughts. And that's pretty phenomenal.
That's pretty phenomenal.
It's pretty incredible. And to know that we're up against things like that, to know that we are actively looking at stuff like that, just... Yeah, no, like it straight up is. 'Cause, like, we've gotten to a point where we let robots make the decisions, where we let computers make the calculated decision. And if that's the case, you know, when does it become Skynet? When is it the point of, you know, things are going to get crazy and robots are going to see us as no longer useful?
What?
I hit the bell. I tried to pull it up.
Oh, yeah.
Red.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's like
it's all right. Welcome back.
Geth.
Yeah.
Geth.
Well,
Sure.
and you know, we were just talking about the Philip K. Dick android. You know,
Phil Dick,
that was talking about,
They
you know,
say that
how
name a lot.
yeah, where the robot responded to the National Geographic guy that, like, don't worry, if robots take over humanity, I'll keep you in my people zoo.
Right.
I like you. I'll come by and visit every day.
You know, sadly
You know.
enough, that was a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
People lose.
Yeah.
My wife had to show me a lot of things she saw on Facebook.
It existed.
Oh, and yeah, there weren't any white people in it. It really made me sad. Like,
yeah.
It was very...
No, there was actively a point... I'm going to get a little dark. I'm going to get a little dark, but yeah, in World War II, we literally gathered every single Asian American and put them into a freaking camp.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about black people in zoos.
Yeah.
Like, meant to stand naked in cages in front of white people to be observed. And, oh my God, Becky, look at her butt. It's so big. Things like that. Like,
boom, boom, boom,
fucking...
At that time...
I hate humans.
I mean, at that time...
Die.
Well, and that's just it. You know, at what point...
It's like I said before, trials and tribulations, man. After so much blood spilled is why we are here.
Yeah, but it's not
where
better.
We're at now. No, and it's not going to be.
It's not better.
And that's the thing. Is like, and that's the thing is the number one thing you learn when you learn history is that history will eventually
repeat
itself.
Yeah,
and that's the thing is we're as humanity, it's just set and ingrained in ourselves. We are volatile.
Well, we're inherently fucking born evil.
The only time
born evil.
The only time that we are going to truly unite as humanity is if we find something else we can destroy.
Yeah. Well,
Reagan said that.
Reagan said all the time.
Would it not be Star Wars program?
In theory, it never technically happened.
Especially the monkey.
But literally, his quote was, would it take an attack from outside of our world for the nations of the world to come together?
Absolutely. And even at first, they'd still eat each other alive.
Man, I think it'd be who could sell out who to fucking gain favor with the fucking guys attacking.
Well, and you got to wonder because now we actually have an interplanetary representative. We actively have an interplanetary representative in the UN now. Like, that exists. That's an office. You can Google it.
They better. No. And they know
why.
They know why.
Oh, yeah.
They know it's not new.
Yeah.
It's
not new. And I'm a firm believer. I'm not a believer in the concept that we didn't go to the moon, that it was faked. I utterly believe that we did.
I don't believe we went when we went.
And we were firmly invited not to come back.
Well,
that's my belief, because there's quite a bit of Apollo 17 where the camera is just pointed at one location, and they went off to this other thing.
I'm pretty sure. Well, there's been a lot of reports of like numerous people that worked at NASA at Mission Control that. There's other things that went on, and they found other things that they are not going to talk about. Which is completely understandable with all the things they knew about humans. It's commonly believed
amongst theorists that Apollo 17 was a reclamation mission. We were there to reclaim technology that was there. I
don't believe we went when we went, but I believe we were there, and yes. We've been told not to go back.
Oh, we've been there. There's no doubt about that. There's a fucking laser mirror there that, they measure the distance of the moon on the daily with. There's only one way it's there. We went there and we put that shit there. That was the first fucking moon mission. They went and they put a fucking mirror on the moon to measure the distance every day to get more accurate tidal measurements. I mean, I'm
pretty sure NASA clearly stated over the past few years, there was some report that they said that the whole exploration of the moon thing has been absolutely nixed. We are not going to ever do it again.
Yeah, no. If anything, what will happen is that the moon will be a fueling stop to get to Mars.
And didn't Armstrong
or something like that.
Was it Armstrong? Said a whole lot of stuff about what they found, and was told everybody said, "Oh, he's crazy."
Yeah, no, it's not Armstrong. Not Armstrong, because he was a 33rd degree Mason.
But it's one of them.
Good God, I'm trying to remember, because to this day,
one of them was like, "No, man, we found shit."
Yeah,
they didn't talk about and he's been on numerous programs.
Yeah.
He's kind of they trying to make him look like he's crazy because he's telling too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well,
and the way they have the American public Vamoozled, like, okay, he's crazy. He's saying stuff like that. Only crazy drunk rednecks.
Yeah,
they saw aliens.
Yeah.
No, he's got problems.
And I'm trying to remember which astronaut that is.
I think there's been like numerous presidents who said they saw shit.
Oh yeah.
Fucking
Edgar
Jimmy
Mitchell.
Carter said shit.
Edgar
like
Mitchell,
that. Like
astronaut Edgar Mitchell.
Yeah.
He was the astronaut, and I want to say it was like Apollo 13 or not 13, but like 15 or something like that.
They'll just say, "Oh, he's jealous."
And literally, he was like, there were things that happened, and it was interesting because if you go back to all that,
I mean, I remember hearing Mile High glass structure.
I've got the space shuttle operator's manual. I'm that much of a fucking dork. I actually it's got like fold outs of the fucking control panel and what everything does, all that kind of stuff.
Nerd.
And it goes through all of the rigmarole that happens, like the entire launch sequence, all the lingo, everything. And you find out in that book that a good 60% of missions, number one, they don't get their mission till they're in orbit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all
because it's classified by DoD.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's a DoD mission.
Absolutely.
And they're up there to either maintenance a satellite or something like that. And that's what you hear is that they're maintaining a communication satellite or something like that. But it's actually like, hey, we're up here like adjusting lenses on an NSA satellite.
Eventually we'll find out.
Like
the white papers.
Oh yeah. Yeah, well, in this year, and I intend to do a whole episode. I intend to do a whole episode on it whenever it comes around. But this year is the 50th anniversary of the assassination of John F. Kennedy, and this is when everything is supposed to be declassified and come out.
Redacted like a motherfucker.
Oh yeah. There's going to be nothing but a bunch of black pages that are released.
Yeah. Here's a bunch of nothing.
Yeah. Here's two lines.
And
here's two lines on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
You know, for 200 pages.
Curtis.
They'll never.
I used to have this buddy Curtis out in Arizona, and that was the number one thing he'd always say is, what country all throughout history killed their king and 50 years later still has not
disclosed how they're
most powerful. The other ones didn't stay that powerful.
Yeah. Well, I guess, because I equate, after World War II, I equate us to being the Romans.
Well, and what's an interesting show, if you haven't seen it, on Netflix, as a matter of fact, Mr. Binge Watcher over there, is the untold history of the United States.
I've seen it on the list.
Oh my God, it's by Oliver Stone and narrated by Oliver Stone. And homie, I'm here to tell you, like, my wife's not into this kind of shit, but she watched that and she was like, oh my God. Like, it goes from World War I and how we got involved with that.
Yeah,
the
cover up.
And then at the end of it all, it goes back. Like, it loops back, just so you're like, hey, just to reinforce to you, this is where things came from. This is how we got here. And it goes through, like, every president and how they got into office and their vice presidents and stuff like that and the platforms that they had.
So it's from the Great War.
Don't get me wrong, I love conspiracy theories. I think.
Well, and that's the thing. It's not even conspiracy theory. It is the actual history. Like, this is what happened.
But intent and perception, once again.
True.
Because David Koresh had everybody convinced. The guy up there at the fucking Hellbop Comet shit, fucking Heaven's Gate cult, they had people convinced.
Yeah.
And Jesus had people convinced. And it's really, there's some really smart people who are really fucking convincing to put a lot. You can write some really badass stories.
You can.
And you could take a lot of events and put them all together and say they all had something to do with each other. And not saying they don't. I think there's some dirty pool this fucking country.
Oh yeah,
I mean, I think all fucking governments. It's dirty fucking pool, man.
You got nothing but something to gain.
You got people in power always end up corrupted.
Well, even right now, like we were talking about beforehand. Number one, the funniest sticker I've seen in a long time was the Trump Putin sticker. But I mean, even that whole thing going on with, at the same time, an independent investigator coming out and saying, yes, Seth Rich had direct communication with WikiLeaks. Here's the DNC staffer that was shot 3 times in the back in a robbery.
Yeah, his brother just came out saying, "I don't want you to talk about it. That's rude."
Where
Who paid you?
But his dad was literally like, "Hey, please investigate my son's death. You said it was a robbery. His $5,000 watch was still on his wrist. His friggin' wallet with cash was still in his pocket.
It was a robbery, though.
But it's a robbery, and he was shot 3 times in the back. You know, that's cool.
What were they robbing?
Well, no, and most people who know anything about the streets at all is like, most times you don't shoot people during a robbery.
Yeah.
If you want their watch, you don't shoot them to take their watch.
Yeah, but that's
man, you gotta be out of your mind fucking drug
that's
addict.
Yeah.
Man, usually just like, hey, give me the fucking watch. And they're like, here's the watch. And then they fucking walk away. You don't like shoot motherfucker 3 times to take a watch.
Yeah, especially
you
in
ain't
the
taking
back.
no murder rap over a watch unless you're a fucking hardcore crackhead or something.
Yeah.
Like, out of your mind.
And then not steal the watch.
Generally, you shoot somebody. Well, generally, you shoot somebody. It's a fucking crime of passion, or you're just sociopathic, or there's some fucked up.
Yeah,
shit.
there's something else going on.
As literal as it can be. It's just, what's your what interpretation and what
perception,
or
interpretation and
perception.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, maybe he was robbed, but he wasn't robbed for a monetary value.
There you go.
Yeah. He may have been robbed.
He was robbed of his life, that's for sure.
He may have been robbed of his life on a thumb drive.
Could
be. You know what I mean?
Or just like, hey,
I mean, that's what I'm getting at.
Or you're robbed.
No, you're absolutely right.
Or you're robbed of any chance of running your mouth anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, and he wasn't the only one. He wasn't the only one. There were like 2 DNC staffers that ended up in the midst of all that.
You can't use a dead witness testimony.
That's right.
Money buys silence for a time, right?
Oh, snap, son.
Just like, you know.
Cota Brown, ladies and gentlemen.
Money buys silence for a time.
Yeah. My name is Jeff Peterson. In case there's an investigation going on, I didn't say any of this.
But death
anti-American shit
buys silence for eternity, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, and, you know, on that note, as we wrap things up,
not to mention, hey, what color is this dress?
Yeah. Exactly.
Suicide.
Exactly.
Yeah. Suicide.
What color is this dress? And that's the distraction. That's the hand. And you know, I said it at the beginning of the election. Don't get me wrong. This is the biggest point of prestidigitation that's ever been pulled off in front of the American public. And it was beautiful because if you know what prestidigitation is, that's sleight of hand.
You barely say it.
That is the magician's trick.
You've had 2
all right.
years.
And it literally, folks, that is the magician telling you at the beginning of the trick, I'm going to deceive your mind. And the moment he does that, your mind goes into problem-solving mode, and you're trying to figure out how he's doing the trick instead of observing the trick at hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've left observation, and you've moved into problem-solving, and at that point, your mind's in 85 different places, and you're perfectly distracted.
Yeah.
You're perfectly distracted. He has literally mesmerized you on purpose.
Not watching.
Into not watching.
Yeah.
And like it was the most perfect point of prestidigitation that ever happened. The fact of it's rigged from one party and then it's rigged from Bernie Sanders and then it ended up being rigged and things still happened another way.
And
you know, like it was beautifully, like either way it happened, the machine at hand had the tool that they needed.
And they've
Either
always
way it
done it.
happened.
This was just more fucking, like, you know, complex fucking trick.
Yeah.
That's all.
Oh, yeah, and it was beautifully
it
done. And it was amazing.
In half. It was fucking making a building disappear this time. That's it.
Yeah,
because
no,
the
it was
same
making
people who've always been in power.
It was making the
are still in power.
It was making the Statue of Liberty disappear on live TV
instead of a card trick. Yeah.
This is what it was. Instead of I'm going to read your mind over the television.
Look over here.
Yeah.
You still get to vote.
Yeah.
On nothing. And you know what? People are all still, even though they realize, here's the funniest part about the whole thing. It's like next election, people will turn out in droves.
Yeah.
There will be more people voting next vote than ever.
The real question
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Hold on. Even though they just saw that voting doesn't do jack shit.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers, are you kidding? If you show up at the fucking voting booth next time you're a fucking idiot. Because more people voted for Hillary Clinton than fucking dumbass Trump. And you still fucking lost, asshole.
Yeah.
Stop fucking showing up. It's not going to do you any good. The biggest protest you can do the whole thing is nobody fucking show up.
I love that.
Yeah. Be like, fuck you.
Remove consent.
Fuck you.
Remove consent.
I didn't fucking give you permission to fucking write my number down. Fuck off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't do any good, but you'll show up. Because if we get more people...
I posted...
Wait, if 20 million more people fucking vote this time for the person we want, then maybe... No, it still won't fucking work, asshole.
I posted an article not too long ago, though, because the DNC is actively in court in Florida...
Good fucking luck.
Over shit that happened
against the Illuminati.
And, you know, and literally, their argument was, number one, the court cannot interpret what our rules are.
What?
The court cannot interpret what our rules for picking a candidate are. Number two, we could actively still go back to the way it was in 1952 and just sit back and smoke cigars and drink brandy in a closed room and decide it. And we don't have to have a public vote. That's how the rules are written. This is actively their argument in court.
The DNC wants the Republican
This is actively what their argument is in court. And it's like, that's mind-numbing. Is anybody paying attention to that? Is anybody paying attention to the DNC regardless? That any party in court is actively saying, we could decide whatever candidate we want despite what the public thinks or wants.
Well, didn't they do that in the first place?
They did. Yeah. And that's what they got in trouble for, and that's what they're in court for, is that apparently Bernie had more of the vote, but they gave it to Hillary. Yeah. And they're saying we have the right to decide whoever our candidate is. To do what we already did. Yeah. And it's like, but why the fuck have the vote?
Yeah.
Wait.
Why the fuck are you letting people vote?
Wait, so you asked just what I just did a second ago.
But it's more of the primaries, though. And it's like, why are you letting people vote in the primaries for who that electoral candidate is? That's pointless.
But I don't...
If you can just decide who the fuck the candidate is, why are you letting them vote?
I think it just became
just to
way
appease
too obvious on this one that's what they've always done.
Exactly.
And they finally have to just cover it legally.
It's done. Yeah. It's literally done to appease the people and nothing else. Yeah. Nothing else. And they actively argued that point in court. That was their defense.
The whole thing.
Dude.
That, folks, was the sound of a palm on a forehead.
But all these conversations are moot anyway.
They are.
Because the same lineage is going to fucking be in power.
Yep.
Always.
Yep.
And they have you fooled into thinking... And don't get me wrong. I love that we're fooled into thinking we're a free country because you know what? We can do this. What we're doing right now. While we're drinking a beer.
For right now.
You know what?
For right now. How long? This is my question. Hey. How long until Dudes and Beer has to have a license through the FCC in order to broadcast on the internet?
Okay, and you know what?
Yeah, for real.
But then either you get a license or I'm just at home drinking a beer.
And we're talking anyway.
Snuggling up to my wife's boobs.
The problem is...
I'm still comfortable.
The problem is, at that point, we aren't solving the world's problems 12 ounces at a time, Stoney.
We got to go with 32s.
and that's understandable, but then it's in a private context in this conversation, this enlightening conversation tonight.
I'm pretty sure nobody listens once they hear I'm on this show anyway.
Well, whatever.
They're like, I had Stones on this episode. Fuck that dude.
Fuck that noise.
He's a dick.
Well, I'll say that, like...
Episode 110, with Stone the Dick.
Stone the Dick.
Yeah. Well, I'll say with like, because we're always, especially Stone, always going to millennials and shit.
I said twice.
No. Just listen to what I have to fucking say, please.
Okay, millennials. What about you?
No, is what I'm getting at is that going back to when do we have to go through the FCC to broadcast to them.
Sure.
All us millennials, and I say us millennials because I was born in the time frame.
Yep. The burden you bear.
Exactly. We're not focusing on the right things that we should be focusing on to protect our right to do this.
Yes.
To protect our right to fucking say whatever we want, to do anything because of entitlement, and they feel that being hung up on somebody like Trump or Hillary, you know, they should be fighting things that are taken from them every day, and they don't even realize. And then the scary thing is that my generation will eventually lead this country.
Well, the fact is, though,
they'll learn a lot.
As someone,
well, once you're put on spot, once
you're in power, you realize.
As someone who worked in education and comes up shortly before you, like y'all would be the you and Wes and my friends your age would be the equivalent of 8th grade when I graduated, and that's right as the glazing started to happen.
Oh yeah,
that's right as like when I was in senior level shop class.
What year did you graduate?
I graduated in 1993.
Oh, okay.
I graduated in 2006.
Yeah, there's no 8th grade when you were graduating.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. I'm saying
an era behind.
I'm saying, he would have been in like 5th grade young, when I graduated. Okay. No, I am well pickled, my friend. Okay. But I'm 41.
Graduated in 93.
I am a salt, believe me.
He's like freaking 14 years later, bro.
Yeah, like,
that's what I'm saying. You're like,
this motherfucker
kindergarten in 93.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's way younger.
But literally, when I was a senior in high school in shop class, I had 9th graders that could not read a ruler. And when you're given the quantifiable fact of the ruler that you have been given is 12 inches long and it represents a foot,
all right,
find 3 inches.
All right.
And there are only 12 marks on that shit, and it's 1 through 12. There's an issue there.
Here's
how the fuck did you end up in 9th grade?
Right, here's where I think you're wrong. As far as like, because this is a generational thing, and it has nothing to do with like one generation being dumber than the other, or not being taught. Hold on, or not being taught something the other. Because I know you're a very intelligent person, and you're probably gifted and talented, or at least advanced class, something.
Nope.
Either way,
student,
I think you don't remember when you were in 9th grade how many of your friends didn't know, or you didn't pay attention in 9th grade because you're a dumbass 14-year-old with a bunch of hormones and a balls full of semen for the first time.
I wasn't even 14. I graduated at 17. So.
Okay, but you get where I'm getting at.
Yeah.
That, like,
no,
it's
I'm
like,
with
it's
you.
Like it's like that
I'm
dumbass. Okay, that dumbass Brent from the union, the rigger that we worked with today. I'm saying this at the mic in case he's listening.
Yeah, dirty rigger.
How this motherfucker pulls out today like, oh, you push that truss cart like people in Austin drive.
And then it takes him fucking 20 minutes to strap one.
Okay, my point being that, like, and I said, my response was, every state I've ever been in, they talk shit about the other states and how they don't know how to drive. But nobody in this fucking country, everywhere I've lived and been in this country, nobody fucking knew how to drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's
Don't give me the shit that, like, the other fucking people didn't know how to do this. Because the people in your shit don't know how to do this.
But I'll tell you right now, like, people in Austin don't know how the fuck to merge.
Okay, and every state I've been in, same fucking thing. And every state I've been in with snow,
they're pretty.
All those motherfuckers don't know how to drive in snow. Well, you look on the sides of your roads and look at all the fucking dings out of the fucking sidewalks where your cars slid into the fucking and why.
Well, here
y'all have more
it's like 2 feet of water
done every year in y'all state than fucking any other state because y'all keep hitting curves in the snow.
Well, because
that's just a fact.
Yeah,
it's hard to drive on fucking snow.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing.
Dodos live everywhere.
As someone who moved from Texas to Maine and
that's different. But I'm talking about Maine and New Hampshire and New Jersey and everywhere else that are similar.
The trick is you're literally taught when you go into a skid, you go to the curb,
bro.
Like you steer into the curb.
Of course you do,
because that's going to stop you.
If you know how to drive with your e-brake, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah,
I never turned a fucking. Turn a corner without using my e-brake. I didn't use my steering wheel.
It's learning the propers of driving and race car driving, quite honestly.
That's it.
Because number one, hesitation is fear. Hesitation is fear. That's rule number one. After that, it is a car goes forward, it stops, and it turns. And it does not like to do two of those three things at the same time.
Yeah.
And Snow likes to make them
All
of them at the same time.
The problem is we like to stop, turn at the same time in the middle of snow, and that's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to slow down.
E-brake.
You're supposed to slow down. You're supposed to anticipate things.
E-brake's my best friend in Kansas.
Yeah.
But, okay, so my point was that, like, I think you're forgetting that there were a lot of dumbasses you went to school with.
I had a lot of dumbasses at my school. Don't get me wrong.
When I went to college, and I took a course. I forget what it was, some English course, and I took it late. And there was some like kids just graduated high school.
Yeah,
were in this, and they fucking, we trade papers and like.
Yeah,
you're in college. You spelled dirt with a U. Are you fucking kidding me?
No, I literally
in college.
It's funny because
it had nothing to do with generations. It had to do with there's just fucking stupid people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can attest to it from a different point of view because the old guitarist in my Grateful Dead band was my sociology professor at Houston Community College, and that was right up around 95. 96, and he wasn't my guitarist in the band at that point. Mm-hmm. He was just my professor, and he would get me in to go see his shows and shit like that, and I loved going to his class because I love sociology, psychology. It's just my jam. It's like an instruction manual for life. Like I said, philosophy, that kind of stuff reads good to me.
I get it. I love sociology.
And even him, like 10 years later, talking about like the fact that students' parents call him up and ask him why their son's making a D, and he's like, I don't know. He doesn't show up to class and he doesn't do the work. Why am I talking to you?
Yeah,
he is a 20-year-old person. Yeah. He is a grown-ass man.
Let him be a
man. The problems that are happening are between him and his professor. You have nothing at all to do with this. Yeah. I have no reason whatsoever, whether you paying the bill or not, to talk to you.
Well, and that's ridiculous. Like, bro, if your kid quits, we're still gonna make fucking tons of money.
Yeah.
Some other kid will take your place.
It's the fact of like he's a grown person and he's the one that's decided not to show up, not to do his work.
That's age old. And that's not.
I'm one of those people, and that's why I don't agree with the whole "let's give everybody a free ride to college" because I was somebody that spent 8 years finding myself. Had somebody told me what I was doing in technical theater in high school is what I would be doing for a living,
so you want
and being flown around the country to do? No. Not at all.
I'll tell you right now. I don't think
however,
I don't think that.
I don't want to pay for. If you want me to pay for technical school for you to go learn a trade all day long,
go be a welder.
If you want me to pay for you to go discover yourself for 4 years,
no, totally not.
No, hell no.
Well, I mean, and I'm
because
okay
I went to school long enough to be a fucking doctor.
No, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it.
And I'm in
fucking 4 years.
There will literally.
And then you're flipping burgers if you ain't decided.
There will literally.
I need somebody to flip my burgers.
There will literally be a fucking mailbox on my tombstone for student loans. Like that's how it's gonna work.
I say 4 years. I mean, you got to fucking maintain. You got to maintain.
Well, yeah. Obviously.
Because you do gain out of college, whether you fucking get a degree or not. You do gain massively.
No, it changes you. It changes you. I'm not against the college experience.
I don't think you should be able to take all these dumbass courses like they got the history of fucking Miley Cyrus and shit going on. They got classes, bro, for real. On every celebrity there is out there. They got a Kim Kardashian fucking course in college. I'm not playing with you. Look this shit up.
Look it up.
So you're
depending on the college you go to, but those are like
they all have something.
I don't
UT
think
has something.
I don't think
and that's the number one public university in the country.
Okay, and see, that's where I was going to get at because I guarantee you, University of Dallas, where I went,
which is
or University
not
of St. Thomas, where my brother
college.
I don't think that.
Depending on the circles you're in,
number one public university in the country.
At the time that I went, time that I went to University of Dallas, the only core curriculum in the country that was harder than University of Dallas was West Point.
Okay, so we're not talking about 19 dickety-do. We're talking about when millennials are going to college.
Well,
and you know what? They're
the
not going to go
difference
to
is
college.
the difference
unless
is
you have
private
a fucking
and public.
history of fucking Kim Kardashian.
The difference is private and public.
Fucking
is,
Miley
is the
Cyrus
difference
shit.
because I went to a private university.
That's different. That's different.
Yeah, it's totally different.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I went to a unique circumstance.
Right.
And like, my wife shared in that circumstance, which is why we're so simpatico. Because, like, we
That's why
both...
they use big fucking
we
words.
have
Like
those...
prestidigitation.
Prestidigitation and shit. I have an album
They
called
teach us that in,
Prestidigitation.
Sorry.
fucking
Yeah.
public school.
You can look at me like the devil, but
Yeah.
I don't think that college level education should be free to people.
It shouldn't
Absolutely not.
I think a lot...
Never was it. Never was it.
Never.
Never was it.
In turn, here's a response to what you were saying about, like, we should be focused on the things that are being taken from us and not, like, all this other... I don't even think that's the answer.
I don't.
Because
No.
I don't think you should be given shit. I don't think you should
Exactly.
be given jack shit. You don't have
Exactly.
the right to any fucking thing.
Yep.
I
Not
agree.
one motherfucking thing.
Nope.
This fucking podcast?
I agree.
Who the fuck says it's your right to fucking have a non-licensed fucking... Who the fuck says it's your right?
I'm
You
just
do?
talking about the whole freedom
No,
of speech.
what I'm
thing,
saying is,
you know,
like,
our-
who says
like
it's
our
your fucking
Constitution
right to
and all.
that?
Yeah. And the man's got a point.
Because throughout history,
Yeah.
this is a new fucking thing.
Yeah.
We're
Well-
fucking comfortable with having these fucking great
Abs-
rights, and they're fucking amazing. But is it? Does it
No,
have
we-
to fucking happen?
Absolutely,
No, we're lucky
but-
to fucking have it.
And
We don't
people-
look at it that way.
And people literally don't understand. We live in a bubble in this
this is fucking
and don't get
comfort,
me wrong.
See,
It is no
absolutely.
by no means way,
Absolutely.
shape, or form.
Little things like non-regulated podcasts
by-
being taken from
by-
us, or the fact we can't vape in fucking public buildings anymore and shit.
You
Are
can't
fucking
vape
kidding
anywhere
me?
that smoking's not allowed.
Line the fucking cry a fucking river for me, because you know what? There's a little fucking baby that was born 2 minutes ago in Africa whose hands were immediately chopped off as it was born, so that when it got older, it wouldn't pick a diamond up out of the fucking dirt. And you're gonna whine to me? Not you.
Not
you.
But
Damn,
I'm
bro,
saying-
you just went to beers on this
No,
shit.
I'm saying motherfuckers want to whine and cry about, like, no free medical care. Tell me about the motherfucker who has the right to walk 40 miles a fucking day with a bucket on their head just to get a drinkable fucking a bucket of water. That
Not
probably has shit fucking in it.
Not only that,
You know
but
what I
it's
mean?
the
Like,
fact
their
of,
fucking children, or they have to sell their children just to fucking feed the other ones. And these motherfuckers
yeah.
are whining and crying about, like, I want gay marriage. It's my right. No, motherfucker, are you kidding me? I don't give a fuck about your gay marriage.
Yeah.
I have gay friends, and I love them. Do I think they should be able to get married? Sure. Do I think it's the fucking pressing fucking
right.
issue in the fucking world right now?
No.
Fuck you, you selfish piece of shit,
Yeah.
for whining and crying about your little fucking gay marriage or your fucking right to have a fucking non-regulated podcast or fucking vape in public and your
Hey,
little pussy ass.
you leave my podcast out of this.
Look, this little fucking first fucking world problems, crybaby bullshit. Fucking
Yeah.
man, there's so much horrible, terrible, heinous shit going on in the world.
Yeah.
Every fucking day.
On the daily.
Little fucking babies fucking starving to death.
Nothing's changed.
And bugs crawling in their shit. They're just
Yeah.
terrible fucking shit.
And-
And they're fucking crying about, oh my right, oh my god, fucking you didn't respect me. It's my right to be. Fuck you and your respect.
Yeah.
Bet you fucking look at history and tell me you know I'm not the luckiest motherfucker that ever lived.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. Too
Yeah.
Kings in the past have not lived as good as you live now.
Yeah, but
Hey, people don't
but
even
to-
understand that, like,
to go.
And I'm
on-
not yelling at you. I'm
no,
yelling
no,
at
no.
fucking
But I
a
just
mentality.
My thing,
Yeah.
because it was mentioned several times about the podcast, is guess what?
that wasn't on you. That
No.
was just
No,
yeah,
I know.
no,
It's
that
an
was
example.
totally against me.
No,
No, totally not.
Well, I have my ancestors.
I love you, Stone.
When they came to this country, have fought, bled, and
Bruh,
died.
my family came over fucking before the fucking Revolutionary
For-
War. I get you.
Our Constitution
Uh-huh.
for our rights.
And what does that give you?
And now, and I'm not just, I don't want to try to sound entitled or anything. However, it's like if my right if my Constitution that was laid down by our forefathers, that my family has in fact
Same here. Yeah.
died and bled
I feel
for,
you.
Yeah.
is all for naught. And don't get me wrong,
It'll be just like every other war that ever happened on the planet.
absolutely,
Yeah.
but that
Yeah.
war hasn't happened yet. And then also,
No, they all
too,
have. They all have. Every war that's ever happened was for some reason that's bullshit. And
absolutely.
that isn't fucking.
Absolutely.
So, you know, when you got Vietnam, you got all these fucking wars like throughout history, like all these people that shed blood for some asshole who was in power and for
Absolutely.
somebody's money, and
Or
they
for
made it
some-
about this right and that right, and it
or
wasn't
for
about any of
something-
those fucking rights. It's about some motherfucker's money.
Yeah.
And they
Absolutely.
they made it out like it was for these rights and all this shit. And
But
then my
it's a-
family came over in like 1748.
Yeah,
okay?
well,
I
it's-
get it. My family fought in the
yeah.
Revolutionary. They fought all those wars, and you know what? They fought for fucking nothing. They got a lot. I gotta tell you, that's a fucking one of the biggest payoffs that ever fucking happened from any war
Yeah.
ever. Probably. Look at the fucking way we fucking live
Oh yeah,
because of this shit.
yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Absolutely.
Oh my god! If
Hey.
it fucking lasted 200, 300 fucking years,
I'll tell you
thank you,
this.
fucking grandpa. That was fucking awesome.
I'll tell you this. We're the only country to ever actually win our independence from the British Empire.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're the only one.
and look how fucking great we have
We're
it.
the only one.
Bro,
and-
pretty as much as sometimes I sit around like fuck.
As,
wish I had
as
more
horrible,
work and I don't
well,
have
and
as
the
much
funny
shit
thing,
as I'd like.
as horrible as people make it out to be nowadays, we are still the number one spot for immigration. We are still the number one
Bro, I see
destination for
homeless
people to move.
sitting on the fucking street corner, listening to the music on their fucking phone.
Yeah.
with a shiny bicycle next to them,
That's 'cause
drinking a
we're in
fucking
Austin.
beer.
That's because we're
Bro, I lived all over the country.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, no.
I've been all over the country, and
One
I've
of-
seen a lot of
one of
fucking
my
homeless
favorite
people
stories
who
ever.
still. It's not fucking. It's not as
My-
horrible as regular fucking people.
My buddy-
live in some other countries.
Yeah, absolutely.
They have it fucking better
Yep.
than fucking people who have fucking jobs in other countries.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
That's pretty fucking badass, dude.
yeah.
When you can be homeless and you're better taken care of and have nicer shit than people who fucking work every day in other countries. Bro, can you really complain?
Well, I mean, look at Argentina right now. Or
Brazil, where like
Venezuela,
fucking,
rather,
they got
is
hit
the one I'm
squads to
thinking.
kill fucking orphans, bro.
Well,
Come on.
I mean, it's like Argentina right now is like starving. Literally, like the government. Venezuela, I mean,
Right,
Venezuela.
like,
Because the government like went full on communist a few years ago and took over like farms and shit like that. And it's literally become the fact of if you want food, you need to go work on a farm.
Bro, because they have a food shortage. Chavez, who fucking used to run the fucking place, this motherfucker's got more oil than anybody.
Yep.
You know that it costs you less than $1 to fill up your car with gasoline in Venezuela. They have so much fucking oil.
Yep.
It costs more for a bottle of water than it does to fill up your entire fucking tank. And I'm talking a 20-ounce bottle of water. Costs more for that than it does, or 3 times more, 4 times, 5 times more to fucking get a burger at a fucking burger joint than it does to fill up your entire fucking gas tank with gasoline.
Yep.
Because he got all this fucking oil, and he's I'm gonna hold it, not gonna trade food for fucking oil for food, and it's I don't give a fuck if everybody starves. I'm fucking gonna hold on to this shit. I'm gonna be
we embargoed
crazy
them
shit.
also, and we're like we're not going to trade with you.
Well, yeah, that's just after fucking the communism thing.
Yeah.
though.
Oh,
yeah.
That's, I'm talking about before communism,
Yeah.
before they just like Chavez was just a crazy bastard.
Yeah.
They're fucking the neighborhoods just suck, and the fucking crime just sucks, and even
Yeah.
the prisons. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
They got the prisoners. There's no fucking guards, bro.
Yeah.
They just shovel in truckloads of food over the fucking wall, kind of shit. There's dudes in there with grenades and guns and shit. The prisoners got guns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There ain't no guards. It's fucking trash, garbage, fucking shithole. And we got it real motherfucking good. And I don't
We
care.
do.
Take some of my rights
We
away.
do.
I don't give a fuck. But I'm not using them all.
Yeah.
Fucking have some of them.
Yeah.
But I can still go to the emergency room if I'm hurt, and they'll still treat me.
Yeah.
And they'll bill me, and I still won't fucking pay it. And they won't put me in prison for it.
Yep. Yeah, and I think that's really a big issue, is the fact that people do exactly forget
the rest of the world.
Yeah, not just the rest of the world, but
we're so far across the ocean.
Yeah, and the fact that, like, and as somebody who lived abroad for a while,
I've lived a couple of them.
One of the things that I noticed was that there is this concept of, like, we are so young as a country.
Well, yeah.
We are.
And we're a little brazen, we're a little out there, and the fact is, there's nothing that we haven't accomplished. There's nothing that we haven't led. There's nothing that we haven't made or innovated or been the top of. And it's one of those, like, it's tough. It's hard because you're supposed to be prideful as an American, but at the same time, like, you really got to take a step back and realize the fact that we're only a couple hundred years old.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, in the grand scope of everything, in the grand scope of
pretty cool things.
Every other government, you know.
No, I get it.
Things like that. Like, we are we are based on a huge, beautiful model. We're based off of the concept of ancient Greece and Rome. And people think that we live in a democracy, and we don't. We live in a representative republic.
Yeah.
Democracy is a form of voting.
Yeah.
We don't have it.
We are not a democracy.
Wait a minute, people.
We're a representative republic.
Democratic.
Yeah.
You can vote.
You can vote,
yeah.
But obviously it makes no difference. It is, and at the time
we know that it's fucking written down. It's a fucking law, dude. It's not fucking like they scammed us.
Yeah,
it's the fucking way it is. It's on the fucking books, dude.
Yeah,
like, get the fuck over it. You don't like it, rise the fuck up. But you know what? I saw a lot of this whole, like, oh, we need a revolution, all this shit during the fucking...
Who's willing to go out and
nobody! These pussy-ass fucking comfortable motherfuckers. And you know what? I'm one of them. You know what? I'm okay with human extinction. I'm kind of tired and kind of want to retire and not have to work anymore anyway. So maybe I'll pick up one of the fucking guns or a slingshot or whatever the fuck we got to do. But 99.9% of the fucking American public are not going to fucking do it. No. Y'all are too comfortable.
Yeah.
You love the way things are. You'll whine a bit. But you know what? A revolution doesn't have nothing to do with crying.
Yeah, no.
It has to do with making other motherfuckers cry.
Yeah.
Other mothers cry because they lost their sons. Y'all aren't willing to die for this shit. Yep. You know who's willing to die for this shit? The rednecks who have all the guns who don't fucking agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead and have a civil war with all the Republicans and see who the fuck wins, because they got all the fucking guns and all the balls to fight. They're itching to fight. All those cops who shoot those fucking black kids, they're Republicans. They're not Democrats.
Yeah, no.
They got balls to shoot your ass.
Yeah.
You really want to go up against them with your fucking notebooks and your fucking iPads and your fucking
emotional.
You gotta video it on your
cameras.
fucking iPhone while he fucking shoots you.
And your fucking emotional distress cameras.
Yeah, maybe you could take your little emotional distress dog with you, and he'll help you win the war.
And your fucking.
Well, you hope that it doesn't come to things like that.
Yeah, but it's the reality of things. It's not going to come to that because they won't do it. They'll complain about it and they'll say it's going to happen, or they want it, but they want somebody else to do it.
And a prime example is
Can't we hire somebody to do it, like China or Russia?
Well, like, I posted an article the other day on Dudes and Beer where it was the head of the house in California that was leading a middle finger to Trump and stuff like that. It's like, okay, number one, what does that change?
It doesn't do shit.
It changes
just like the Marxists
absolutely
don't do
nothing. It does absolutely nothing.
They never have. They're like, oh, well, it ended the war in Vietnam. No, it didn't.
You can bring any awareness to it you want.
It really didn't.
The fact is, your candidate was not able to sway the electoral college. And that's despite swaying the popular vote.
It's not even that. They're legally obligated to fucking vote a certain way. It's not like you could have fucking swayed them. They're gonna vote. You know before it fucking happens which state's gonna vote which way. Fuck off. Like, man, we don't decide. The electoral college doesn't even decide. They fucking lead us to believe our vote counts. And then when that doesn't work, well, it's this other fucking... It's a redundant fucking blaming fucking system. Where like, well, it's not us because we voted a certain way, so it's the Electoral College. Well, guess what? They already know who the fuck is going to be your leader. Or the puppet.
Yeah.
I mean, God, really? Did anybody think that fucking Ronald Reagan, a doofy-ass actor, was gonna fucking... Or fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger? Yeah. Come on, man. Bro, can barely speak English. He's a fucking bodybuilder full of steroids. He don't fucking know fucking this from that, dude.
Yeah.
He fucking... The Kennedys told him what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
We're in power. No, dude.
You gotta... You
don't even know. You know what? If you know the fucking name of who's in power, you're dead already.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it. Like, you know in your grave. Yeah. You found out and you died immediately.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it's just like, it's that simple. Deal with it. Be comfortable with it. Everybody quit complaining about it.
Well,
I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's all right.
They haven't even busted out the Irish whiskey.
And I understand that.
I see that.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a minute. I'm not going to do that one on air tonight.
No, because all passionate.
We should. Oh no, we'll get Irish and passionate about it afterward, my friend.
Shit.
You know, because eventually one day I have to explain to my child as a redhead that there is the Highlander rule.
Red hair and whiskey don't mix.
No, that when there are two redheads of the same sex in the same room,
there can only be one.
There can only be one. You must fight to the death. And it will never ever happen in mixed company. Once it's just you and the other redhead in the room.
Because I'm mixed, so it's a black thing.
Well, no. It's not about you being a black redhead.
Company, I hear that.
That's all right. No, it's the fact of like if I'm in a room with a redhead and like a blonde and a brunette, totally cool. We're all good. But me and him walk into the same room together, it's like boom, boom, boom.
Okay,
you
bro.
know, like the fucking music hits, and it's like fucking Naruto or some shit like that,
on
dude.
Something I think I don't.
The shakuhachi sounds and
Bro, check it out. You struck on something. I don't know that I've ever been in the room with two redheads at one time. True redheads.
That's what I'm saying.
Look at you. Like, have you ever seen an Asian midget?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Conspiracy theory.
No.
Go ahead.
Fact.
And honestly, I can't.
Two redheads in the same room.
No. I'm trying to.
It doesn't happen.
Trippy fact?
Oh.
Trippy fact? My best buddy.
I'm not talking about Scott Carberry. I'm not talking about red beards. I'm talking about true redheads.
Charla and her two sisters.
That's different. They're related.
But they're all fucking supernatural redheads.
Yeah, but they're related.
Okay.
I guarantee you, growing up, there was hell in that house.
Me and my buddy Danny Frank.
I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm saying, like, you probably don't want to be there.
Okay, so not related.
My buddy Danny Franz from kindergarten.
But see, I don't consider you. I think you're blonde, dude.
You think I'm blonde?
He's
bro.
Total ginger, bro.
Bro,
he's got a fire crotch. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Pull it out. Let's see. I don't believe you.
Hold on.
Yeah, but you got the freckles, but like you still have like blondish red hair.
Proof. Hold up.
You look and tell me.
There was just silence your phone, old man.
No, I'm gonna because there's
there
a
was
video.
The zipper.
There's a video.
There it is.
I think I just.
Right here.
Hello.
You need me to pull a little something? Give it to you.
Oh, I saw.
But
I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of nice.
It's all right.
So I did see there's a group that would do flash mobs.
Yeah.
And it was redheads.
Yeah.
Like you'd have like 300 redheads show up on the subway in
I will
New York
admit
at the same time. Like
we're gonna
like
die.
They don't know each other.
I will admit
and everybody
the
was
fact.
sitting there like, and everybody act like, or like they
people
went into a
think we
Wendy's.
have no soul. The fact is, I have one soul for every freckle on me.
I was gonna say
for every soul I have collected.
No. No, I've been saying that forever. Is like gingers. It's not that they don't have souls; they sap
We sap
fucking
them.
souls.
That's it.
Hey,
Like,
you know
One
what,
for every
bro?
freckle on me, dude.
All right. So the word
That's
ginger,
my stain. That's like my letter A. That's my stain of sin. Is
Yeah,
my,
okay,
is
so
my freckles.
I don't feel comfortable with you using that word.
what,
Stain of
ginger?
sin?
Ginger.
Is it racist?
It is.
Or
It is. You
Bro,
insensitive
let me
fuck.
show you
It's not racist.
Number one.
Absolutely.
Number
fucking not.
one. Ginger is not red, or auburn,
No,
or
actually, if
strawberry
you've ever had a
blonde.
gingerbread cookie, it's brown.
Ginger is brown or
Gingerbread cookies
golden.
are good, but
Ginger, the root
You're more
itself.
ginger than a redhead, because that's more of a color of ginger.
I'm much more an
So
auburn
if you'll
now.
see these two words, and look, they have the exact
Gin?
same
Gin?
letters in them. Exactly the same letters.
okay.
I ain't gonna lie. I ain't
I
gonna
mean,
lie.
no, it does. I mean,
Exactly. Not nice, bro.
Hey,
You're never allowed to use those letters in that together.
figure it out, folks. Figure it out.
Ginger.
Spell it out and
So
play a
there's-
little.
there-
Here's a brain anagram dudes and beer game.
Yeah.
Take ginger and see what other anagram words you can come
Very
up with.
racial
Out of
slur.
ginger. All right.
No, there's
That's
a,
our word.
so there's comedians.
That's our word.
That's what I'm saying. You can say it. I don't think it should be used. Like the other word shouldn't be used by anybody.
That's like Bill Burr. That's one of my favorite things about Bill. Hey, wait a minute. Queer was our word for you. You can't take that.
There's a comedian. He plays piano.
it's
I don't know if you've
horrible,
ever seen him.
but-
He's got red hair and it's like
Oh, yeah.
really out there. Like, and he does a song about gingers, and he talks about like
Yeah. This is our word.
G-I-N-G-E-R. Like, it spells the other word. You didn't like that either, kind of thing. And like,
Yeah. It's kind of like being a Cajun and knowing it. Like, I had to explain to an exec one time because I was working an event. And this dude was like from Oklahoma, and he came down and visited. Like, he was part of an oil company, and he visited one of the fields in Louisiana. And he just kept going on about this coon ass that was at the rig site. And I'm like,
that's a white guy.
oh yeah. But that's cool. I'm white. I'm like 50% Cajun. You know, there's no doubt about it. My mom's 100%. The fact is, the term coon ass is very much like a derogatory term.
Well,
like
yeah.
it's like calling
But you're
somebody
white.
yeah.
Deal with it.
But
white.
but the
You're the
fact
only
is,
people on the planet that can't fucking be upset about anything.
I wouldn't go that far because
No,
quite
I
honestly,
totally agree.
Quite honestly,
But I don't get
It's a
upset.
very little known fact that the Cajun culture is actually one of the only cultures indigenous to America that is unique to America. It came from the people that were exiled from Acadia down to Louisiana and interbred with the local Indians. And
Well, that doesn't
not
necessarily mean native. It just means...
no, it means that it is a unique culture. Not only that, it's a unique language and dialect of French that was actually at one point, like the age of my grandparents, driven out of them, and they were told it was ignorant to speak it. So literally to this day, like
As
the
opposed to the
Cajun
Irish.
language, it's the same thing. The Cajun
But
language
not quite as bad.
is almost dead
Yeah.
now.
What?
Like there's an entire 2 generations that
But you've
do
heard,
not know how
but
to
you've
speak
heard,
it.
but you've heard it.
Yeah,
So
heard
rightly
it.
so.
I've heard it because my grandparents were both 100% Cajun. Like when they didn't want us to know what was going on, they switched to Cajun.
But then you realize where everybody was like, you know, we could do without German too. It's kind of
Yeah.
trashy sounding.
Yeah, you know, but it's one of those
I
like
think it's a very mean language.
when do you
It's kind of harsh.
when do you get to the point that number one, you start to accept what you are. Number two, that you start to integrate what you are into the world around you. And
I've been trying for years.
actively try to integrate what you are into the world around you.
Actively
because that's
how?
well, in the fact of you're willing to didactically consider other points of view. You're willing to, like, you're an educated person. You're somebody who, given empirical evidence, given facts, you are willing to change your point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Just like tonight, when I was wrong about a date.
Right. No, and that's why
I got no
like
problem
you
with
better
that.
than I like Cota.
That's I got no
You
problem.
almost
Love the
fucked
shit
up.
out of you. No, I almost said Josh. Like, no, he didn't announce me.
You know, and it's one of those like when that happens, are you ready to admit that? Are you ready to talk about that? Are you ready to admit, are you even in the society that we live in now where it is a point to blame at the other party situation, are you willing to sidestep that fact and have an open conversation across the table?
Right.
Are you willing to consider another person's point of view?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot of what this podcast is about, and that's why I'm glad that we had this conversation tonight, because there were a lot of differing point of views. There were a lot of different concepts about the same situation, and you know, it's one of those like, what do you do with that? What you do with that is this, exactly this. You sit down and you talk.
You talk it out.
You open it up and you talk it out, and you're willing to listen to somebody else's point of view. You're willing to say, maybe what I have framed as a reality needs some adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
And I think truly that's ultimately what we're all about. And that's what we're trying to do with this show, is change the world 12 ounces at a time. Guys, Joshua Cota, our former guest of numerous times, Stone Winchester, thank you so much. Until next time, everybody, remember, if you can't be good at it.
Yeah.
Take care.
Yes,
all right,
sir.
guys.
Take care of each other.
Later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Dudes and Beer Podcast. To listen to our audio streams and chat with us live, download the official Dudes and Beer app for both Android and iDevices, available on the Google Play and iTunes markets. For more episodes, content, and information, visit us online at dudesandbeer.com. You can also find our episodes on Spreaker, SoundCloud, YouTube, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast service. Dudes and Beer is a proud member of the Revolution Digital Group family of podcasts. Thanks for listening, everybody, and until next time, drink responsibly.